Taking my time, up in them clouds, rocking them shades, we rolling. Look at them moves, yeah, we can dance too. Yeah, we be tick-tocking, body rocking. Check my clock, we ain't stopping till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. Taking my time, up in them clouds, rocking them shades, we rolling. Look at them moves, yeah, we can dance too. Yeah, we be tick-tocking, body rocking. Check my clock, we ain't stopping.
set the tone, yeah, I raise the bar. I go to work, I make it look easy. Play hard, work smart, life easy breezy. Sugar daddy, no, that's honey. Don't give him any sugar, he suckers me all his money. Wanna live lavish, you need a clue. Then look to me, I'll tell you what to do. Repeat after me. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face. Now bring it out, it's your time to glow. You all the baddest, put on a show. Don't be afraid, let everyone know. Don't be shy, just lose all control and work it. Go hit a full split, tear up the floor. Go ahead, snatch those whips. Repeat after me. I am the vixen, I am the stallion. I don't need fixin', but I do need all your attention. All these diamonds on me, they glisten. When I talk, yeah, everyone listens. Cause I'm somewhat of an addiction. Now work those hips and thighs. You're out here changing lives. It's time, so let's get wild, 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 wild. And put in work. Work, 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 put in work. Work, okay, work, work today, work, work today, work, work. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face.
I'm a punk chick, and I make you wanna ride around town with my own clique. I'm a bad girl, and I make you wanna see you in the club when I'm getting lit. What's your number? I'ma call you. Brand new whip, I'm a baller. Got my own money, I don't need you. I'm out here with my girls, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, with my new clip. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, with my new clip. That's how we do. 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 How do you do? You can't do it like us, 'cause that's how we do. I run this, and I'm gonna do it harder. You ain't my sugar daddy, I don't need no father. Figure it out, that's what we do. Riding around town with my whole crew. Yeah, see me in the club, getting tipsy. Never gonna kiss me. Hell no, a drink won't convince me. Got my own money, I don't need you. Out here with my girls, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, with my new clip. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, that's how we do. That's how we do. That's how we do. Yeah, with my new clip.
So good, this I wanna bang bang, this I wanna so wicked, everybody bang bang, sun a shine on everybody bang bang, this a bang bang bang.
I'm a different berry on the plate. They've been slipping on me in the late. Got a juice to communicate. Small in size, heavy in weight. I'm not a bitch, I'm a daughter of king. No compromise, cause I know what I bring. I stand for love like a sun on a ring. Shining bright when I rap, when I sing. Black gem, high refractive index. Reflecting light, that's a princess business. My fate is strong, standards are high. My crown so big, I'm a blessed alive. They don't know, no. What I do. They don't know. You a crew. Match 100%, for sure, 100%. Proud, 100%. You a 100%. Match 100%, for sure, 100%. Proud, 100%. I do 100%. Мы из Украины, братьям привет. Мы из Украины, сестрам привет. Более сила, цена spirit. My buzz up, imagine sky is the limit. Були білі, милі. Жовто-сині кольоро. Ми це рили, хвиля сили.
Won't stop going till a player on top know it. Rooftop penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fly through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion. We put in this time. Look.
You won't stop my stride. I'll just break your line. I don't tolerate wasted time. Take us down, keep fighting.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang a Bang Season 1 Open Finals. We're here at Play Day number 6, which means that 4 more teams remain, and by the end of this evening, only 3 will continue their journey. My name is Husky, and alongside me today, it's going to be Icy Baby 1-2.
Hey, it's great to be back once again here. I didn't see you since last week as well. And interesting enough, yesterday's game has been a little bit of a upset spot twist as well as meta changes. As you can see, we have been discussing about how hero metas can be changing accordingly based on patterns, etc. And we have finally seen a little bit more adaptations from yesterday's games. Today's games, hopefully, is going to be a very interesting one because they are going to be fighting for their final few slots and, of course, a prize pool to be called the best of the best in the Open Finals. And I'm looking looking forward to see how it all goes down. But in case you guys do not know what's up as well, let's take a look at the formats on how the journey of all the teams has been playing so far in this format.
So every single time we have a qualifiers, it starts with the regional qualifiers, right? 2 open qualifiers, and each open qualifiers has 4 regional qualifiers. Now, the first place finish for the teams for the regional qualifiers will automatically get seeded into the challenge group stage, whereas the second and third placing will have to be playing in the open finals, which is where we're at right now. 16 teams in the double elimination format, and the top 8 teams qualify for the challenge group stage.
Yep, we've pretty much guaranteed our top 18 so far. However, the journey still needs to continue as we try to allocate the final prize. But this year, as you can see up on screen as well, once they qualify into the final stages here, they will be forced to play against each other, with also the top teams that's already qualified from the qualifiers into a final challenge series where things will get a little bit more spicy because they are going to be fighting for a bigger chunk of that prize pool as well.
Yeah, we get that reshuffle in the challenge group stage, and the top 4 will finally compete in that challenge finals to be crowned the best Mobile Legends Bang Bang team in Asia Pacific. Now for now, we'll take a look at the prize pool, starting with the open finals, which is our current stage. We are down to the top 4 teams, means that the lowest prize pool that we will be setting right now is going to be $1,200, but of course at the end of this journey, the winner of the open finals will get 2,000 USD.
Exactly, that's a lot of money on the line. However, this is where things get a little bit more spicy here. Are the teams adjusted, or are they here to train to be the best of the best? Because eventually, some of these teams will be playing against each other once they make it into the challenge finals, where things get a little bit more different in terms of meta shift, but it also gives a lot of opportunity for other teams to replicate their meta. And this is what the prize pool that we are going to be talking about as well, the challenge finals, because the top 8 teams, the 8 teams from the first placements of each qualifier is going to be competing against them for this prize pool.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of 16 teams, only half of the teams from that pool will be able to be eligible for any sort of prize pool for the challenge season. So watch out for that. 20,000 is the grand prize, all the way down to $1,250 US. But we'll set the challenge stage aside and come right back to the open finals. Let's take a look at the brackets and see where we're at. Yesterday, we had 2 nail-biting full best-of-3 series, starting with Tiger Wong Esports against Evo Esports, with Tiger Wong coming up on top, 2-1 victory. Very, very sloppy wins though. But for ALVA 8 against Sway, one of the longest and best series that we've had so far in the lower bracket finals, with ALVA 8 coming out on top.
Well, and in case you missed out on the top side as well, let's take a look at the journeys from both GameLab as well as PB and Strike. There are 2 upper bracket finalists who had a really, really long journey, especially when GameLab 2-0'd ALVA 8, sending them down in brackets alongside the Evo Esports. Seems to me they look to be very, very much unstoppable. A little bit of sloppiness coming from PB and Strike. They lost a game of Arrow 4-4, somehow managed to regain their momentum in towards the semi-finals and finally heading into those upper brackets. But let's take a look at the bottom brackets right now.
Yeah, we have Tiger Wong Esports coming right into the open finals, already starting from the lower bracket. Clean series so far up to yesterday, where they had a lot of weaknesses exposed by Evo Esports, but eventually came out on top. As for ALVA 8, they dropped down from the upper bracket and they were able to continue their journey, but all of their games have went to a full series so far.
Yeah, it seems like a really, really tough journey for all these teams here. But speaking of which, here we're down towards the final 4 teams: GameLab, PB and Strike, Tiger Wong Esports, as well as ALVA 8, fighting for their tournament lives here. Or in this case, not really tournament lives, more like a prize pool. But hopefully we will see some really, really good games. It's a curse for ALVA 8, considering that they have been playing all full 3 games in almost every series they played. Will we see the full 3 series? Why don't you guys stick around and find out? But for now, this is gonna be their first match up on screen against Tiger Wong, followed by GameLab going up against PBN in the upper brackets finals.
Yeah. And I'm very, very excited to kind of look forward to this lower bracket semi-finals, because ALVA 8 not only played the most games in the entire open finals, but they also had the craziest of comebacks. When they played the very first lower bracket final series, they had this incredible comeback in game 1, and yesterday against Esports, they had a Lord Steal that was seemingly impossible, but they did it anyways to survive in this lower bracket, which means if up against Tiger Wong, who showed a lot of weaknesses yesterday, ALVA 8 might stand a chance.
Well, it's all about those 50-50 configs occasionally, but it all comes down towards the draft. We've seen meta changes as well. You did bring out a very, very good point as well, where we start to see a little bit more Martis pick off off screen compared to something which I kind of brought up over the weeks and last week itself. And surprise now, we did see occasional Martis sneaking by into this game. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more as well, especially when the patch does drop. We haven't had the opportunity to see a brand new hero in the pool. Probably we'll see it during the challenge season finals. And for this week, unfortunately, they're not allowed to play new hero yet. Technically, it's still a 2-week ban, you know, after release, etc.
Yeah, you can play in your ranked games, but if you want to see it in the Snapdragon Pro Series, just be a bit patient. We will, or we might get a chance to see Arlot on the screen someday in the future. But for now, there's a bit of shift, right? Lesser Archive getting picked, Glue is slipping through, Martis is prioritized a lot. I mean, Melissa is still in the same position. A lot more Valentina, Eve, your classic picks. But most importantly, I think yesterday we had two games where Joy was picked up. And I think that is very telling of how the teams are approaching the current meta.
Yeah, speaking of Joy as well, Joy is pretty much untouched throughout the entirety of the drafts as well during the patch notes. But here's a little bit some stats for you guys as well. Let's talk about the top picks throughout the 2 weeks so far. We've seen Fredrin being one of the highest percentage pick rate with 59.1% with 26 picks week 1 itself. And of course, Valentina going to have a second one, so it's Moskov the third one. But win rate wise, it seems a little bit split off for Fredrin, more favoring towards Moskov as well as Valentina.
Yeah, Moskov is basically kind of first phase materials, right? Most of the teams just first phase Moskov. Some teams even first pick Moskov. But Fredrin has been suffering a bit of a slump in terms of win rate. By the end of week 1, he had a 50-50 split. But yesterday, I think most Fredrin games resulted in a loss, but he is still one of the most favorite junglers.
Yeah, Fredrin is in a very peculiar spot, right? Its uses, its toolkits is just so strong, but at the same time, it's very limited because of the fact that it's very immobile and it's very short range to a certain degree. But when it hits, it hits. When it doesn't, it's just absolutely difficult to play because the execution on the hero itself, it may seem simple, but landing those hits to build up charges for the appraisal craft and also securing it, not exactly easy, especially when it was first introduced as well. That was one of the biggest problems. Buffed it up a little bit, still having a little bit slight delays in terms of ultimates here and there, but still much more manageable compared to when it was released.
Yeah, and right now, I think teams are just coming up ways to deal with Fredrin, right? They let the Fredrin through and they come up with a draft that completely stops him. Fredrin is already a very immobile hero, but at the same time, he needs to move to get those combo points up. So we see heroes like, Franco, we see heroes like Ruby, like Eve, Farsa, they just doesn't let Fredrin move at all. If you can get the ultimate off, it doesn't really matter.
Well, without further ado, you guys are here for the teams. Let us introduce the first team for you guys. Up on screen, we have Tiger, WONG, Esports with the starting roster of Rexley, Gugun, Sheishiro, Rins, Safril, as well as Da-Di-Do-Di-Do.
Yeah, yesterday, when they played their series against Evo Esports, it felt like Tiger WONG was strong as always. Came in, guns blazing, game number 1, very dominant. But in game 2 and 3, they were losing objective fights against Evo Esports, and a lot of cracks were starting to show. So I think the question in this series for them is Tiger WONG Esports as strong as we thought they are? Because when we look at the opponents coming up, which is ALVA 8, I think there's a lot that we can discuss with this, with how ALVA 8 has been constantly making impossible comebacks and holding on to their spot in the lower bracket. Jirachi, Xian, Eliora, Aaron Shiki, and Vince Book.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting one, considering that ALVA 8, they had a very surprising comeback from yesterday's game. And alongside their entire journey so far, we've seen a lot of signs of how Aaron Shiki becomes the full backup plan as well as a core in terms of their playstyle, right? If things don't really work out for Eliora, it all comes down to whether or not they can buy enough time for Aaron Shiki to kind of scale back into the game. And it's been proven multiple times based on how they draft around their playstyles. And Aaron Shiki has been able to demonstrate his Claude as well as his carry gameplays, which oftentimes take a little bit more time, but with a little bit of faith, his Moskov also brings a little bit of a oof into the game itself.
Yeah, and that was kind of the narrative until yesterday. I think now instead of just looking at Aaron Shiki, we have to also keep our eyes on Eliora because he saved ALVA 8 in that game 3 yesterday against Sway Esports. So Eliora definitely has staked his name as one of the most fearsome mid laners in this tournament. But take a look at the head-to-head going into this first best of 3. Elimination series, mid laner are the focus. Eliora against Rins.
Yeah, speaking of stats as well, we talk about how strong he is at the mid laner for Allura, right? He's done a lot of underrated plays over the weeks as well. A couple of games where his Eve was super underrated. Lunox was something that really stood out for me for his ALVA 8. But let's talk about the journey for Tiger Wong Esports. Almost every single game they've played so far has been an absolute complete storm. Every single player coming from Tiger Wong Esports has had high KDAs, including Greens right now, 11.3 KDA, GPM 565, pretty close in neck and neck, DPM and DTPM a little bit higher than the side. It just shows you how Rins and the rest of the teams from Tiger Wong Esports has been able to clean up all their games very convincingly. So hopefully the journey for them is going to be either a hit or is it going to be a miss?
I am definitely expecting a closer series because yesterday Evo were able to really put Tiger Wong to the test, and we also got to see Rins picking Lilia for the very first time in the Open Finals in that game 3, which they did win, but they didn't win cleanly. And I think that's something that will be a challenge for Tiger Wong Esports. You got to clean up your act before this lower bracket semi-finals. Whereas for ALVA 8, they are no strangers to tough games. They've always been in that spot, so I think they're definitely a bit more acclimated to playing these long, dragged-out games.
Well, speaking of iframes, speaking of utility, speaking of delaying the inevitable, Lunox, Lilia, Candida is a very, very strong heroes in terms of mid lane. They bring so much value in terms of team fights, but it all comes down to the strategies and drafts of the team itself. Do they want to play a late game oriented draft, or do they want to go for a pick-off strategy? And so far, this season itself, this brand new season of Mobile Legends has been so versatile where anything can happen. In this case, are we going to see a potential Link matchup? But in case you are curious as well, let's take a look at the predictions we've made so far in this current matchup. And for you guys at home, please cast your votes in the Twitch chat and let us know who do you think is going to win this series before we announce our predictions.
Yeah, I think right now ALVA 8 has definitely gained a lot of fans. I am one of ALVA 8's fans, and speaking of being an ALVA 8 fan, it would be a disservice for me to not go for ALVA 8 because this time I am going straight for that 2-0 in favor of ALVA 8. You mentioned, Terrence, it's either a hit or a miss for Tiger Wong. We're going to find out later.
You know, for me, you know, stats don't lie. You know, there's a reason why they're so good. You know, their stats is really good.
Yeah.
They're really clean. They're not sloppy. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I guess I'm putting my money on that stats.
Yeah,
but
it's fair. It's fair, right? I mean,
I get it, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Shiki, only guy who that savage last week.
Yeah, I mean,
makes sense.
there's
I know.
Allura.
You know,
yeah, Tiger
fair
Wong
enough.
didn't make much mistakes until yesterday. So that's where I had a bit of doubts, right? When I saw them dropping Lord fight against Evo Esports. The one that is most memorable was in Game 2 where they just abandoned the Lord halfway through and lost the game because of that. And I think at the same time, all these numbers look very, very great from Rins, but I want to make an argument that is inflated numbers because they were just bulldozing their game. So when you put them in a tight spot, I honestly think that ALVA 8 would put up a good fight. Whether they can win the series is still up in the air, but I don't think they will go down easily.
I hope the chat is getting as feisty as he is because he's getting very, very defensive just because of the fact that I wasn't casting yesterday, your caster skills kind of broken. You must understand, I'm 6-0 against you.
It doesn't matter.
I hope you guys are as passionate as him,
honestly,
but he's angry right now. He's really hyped up for ALVA 8.
I'm just happy because if ALVA 8 has the power to break the curse, I mean, they can do anything. Anything is possible. Just like you always say, anything can be done.
True.
ALVA 8 can do this. If they've broken the curse once,
hey.
Absolutely. If they've broken the curse once, I think they can do it again. Now, obviously, I'm not taking credits away from Tiger Wong Esports, but I think, you know, it is definitely apt for us to start asking questions, right? Are they really, really that dominant? I think this series would prove it.
Well, speaking of speculations, rumors, why don't you guys let us know down in the comments here and let us know what you guys think of the matchup. Is what I'm saying right or is what he's saying right? But what I do know is that in about 40 seconds, we are going to be jumping straight into the draft. So let's talk a little bit more strategy and drafts and pickoffs here because so far we had a little bit of hit and Passion's Eve has been nerfed here and there. We've seen a couple of games here. Valentina still kind of shines among the rest. Is this going to be a contest between mages, or are they going to stick with the marksman department? You talked about the Martyrs as well, which is also a possibility. What is going to be the priority between both of these teams, considering that you've seen both of them play yesterday? Yeah,
I think yesterday what ALVA Esports went for was definitely a lot of mid lane priority. I think they were really focusing on getting Allura online. They were looking at the jungler as well. I think these two are what ALVA 8 likes to go for. And for Tiger Wong, the XP lane, I think, is going to be what they set their eyes on. So very, very different approach. I would describe these two teams as ALVA 8 being a more conservative, a slower team, whereas Tiger Wong is just really ferocious. They want to pounce fast, end the game decisively. We'll find out. ALVA 8 on that blue side, Tiger Wong Esports on red.
Now, I'm curious to see what the first phase draft is going to be as well. Joy not really touched in towards the entirety of the patch. Fanny also being buffed up as well. It's something that maybe ALVA might consider respecting. I don't think we've seen too much of Gugun playing it. We've seen one game, but it's not really that flashy. And at that game as well, I remembered that Gugun wasn't exactly allowed to snowball pretty hard just because of how the opponent's draft was a little bit more counterintuitive towards his playstyle. But as of yet, in terms of heroes here, 1-1 going to be a similar ban throughout the weeks as well, even though there has been nerfs buffs here, but it makes a little bit more sense considering that 1-1 wasn't really touched, Carry was nerfed, Moscow was nerfed. I kind of want to see maybe a potential Kimi. I haven't seen a Kimi for a very, very long time, just because of the fact that there are teams that play Kimi, potentially Mage, potentially Jungle, potentially Marksman, super underrated hero, but easily countered if Kimi gets jumped on.
Yeah, and there are a lot of heroes that can do that in this current patch. It makes it really unfavorable. I do like the idea. I do want to entertain it, but it's again, right, you say there's a lot of factors. I love the ban from Tiger Wong. They take out the Joy, which was a hero that was picked 2 times yesterday in ALVA A series, and Joy was running rampant. There was no way to stop her. Even with a Franco on the enemy team, you can't really just burst down with Joy. She just takes vengeance, and she survives a lot of these encounters. ALVA 8, going back to the Faramis ban, which was something that has been patterned yesterday. Faramis was picked, I believe, in 1 game, but that game didn't result in a win, right? It wasn't the direct answer to a Joy anyways. But ALVA 8, they really love the Faramis ban.
I'm not really a big fan of the Faramis.
No, me neither.
Just because of the fact that there are some heroes that Faramis kind of counter, right? Indirectly counter. One of it being Glue, obviously going to be taken out from Tiger Wong Esports. Second one would be an indirect way of stopping a Fanny. When a Fanny comes in, guaranteed Shadow Stampede, and then guaranteed, if you time it properly, is going to be able to stop Fanny in his tracks momentarily as a setup, which oftentimes not a personal big fan. We've also seen some teams kind of adapt with a Paquito jungle. Every single time a Fanny comes in, you are almost guaranteed going to get a couple punches and possibly knock out a Fanny, but obviously we didn't see too much about it. We saw, I think, 1 game last week, didn't exactly work out too well. Yeah.
Yesterday, Gugun actually went for the Paquito jungle, but that was the game that they lost against Evo Esports. It was an interesting idea, but also they were forced to run a Paquito jungle because they 4th picked the Jawhead on red side, I believe. Oof. So yeah, definitely a bit of a weird situation that they put themselves in. ALVA is sticking with the Kaja ban. This was the hero pool that they all have been taking out since yesterday, so I'm not surprised. But the Fredrin, I think Tiger Wong might let that through.
Yeah, I think, Fredrin is something they can consider, but I feel like you brought up Jawhead. This is something that we didn't see too much. Personally, I feel like this hero itself is a very cheese pick as a roamer. If you go for a roamer, go for high and dry, you can solo kill people with level 1, level 2 on its own. Jungle Jawhead is extremely quick as well, super underrated, but it kind of scales off after level 8. And I think that's something that not many teams are willing to take the risk. Jawhead is just great for early snowball, but so far, we haven't seen too many teams go for it. Tiger Wong, they ban off the Moskov. This is something that Aaron Shiki is comfortable with.
I love
but this opens up the Valentina for ALVA 8. Tiger Wong now having the opportunity to go for both the Fredrin as well as potentially Eve, maybe even Lunox if they want to.
I actually like this Valentina
Edith,
first pick. And the Edith, right? It slips through. Yesterday, not much Edith ban, but the teams don't really play Edith, right? Not even Tiger Wong. But I do like the Valentina first pick. I think moving away from first picking Fredrin on blue side is not too bad of an idea. At this point, I think Fredrin, to a certain extent, is a minor bait pick, right? You take Fredrin first phase, and the enemy team just picks heroes that stops you from ever moving in a team fight. And if you can get the Apristos wave off, you're not as tanky as you think you are. But you know, Tiger Wong's Edith Fredrin opening is going to solve a bit of that problem.
Yeah, I really like for the fact that Edith is super underrated now. I think we had a couple of games where the Edith was just popping on in terms of damage. Feather, this item is very, very underrated. We often see it on Zaz players, but most of the mages don't really go for Feather. Edith is one of those situations where you can pick it up just because of how the damage output is magical from passive as well as ultimate. ALVA 8 going for Martis as well. Grog, 2 great ways of just shutting down both the Edith as well as a Fredrin for a setup. But personally, I still think it's a little bit difficult to pull off, considering that Tiger Wong, well, okay, I take it back. I take it back now. I think ALVA 8 has got better tools now just because of this Farstar pick, because you've got heroes that just benefits from this Farstar's positioning, right? Better Extra comes in, Grok goes in for a cancel, Martis can interrupt it as well, Valentina gets a free out. I'm a little bit worried from Tiger Wong Esports after they picked up this Farstar.
If I remember correctly, Tiger Wong Esports actually played a Harif also. It's either them or Evo, but Harif was picked, so that actually crossed my mind. But this has been a very standard response. You see a Fredrin, Martis, easy response. He can't stop you, can't knock you up, you cancel, you displace him if he uses his ult. It's just, you know, a skill that ignores crowd control is very annoying. There it is, the Harif ban comes out. Loving this ban from Tiger Wong. If Harif goes through, I honestly think it is going to be a big problem, because you can still put him in the gold lane and there's essentially no one that can catch him. Whereas for ALVA 8, you remove heroes that can essentially lock you down. I mean, you take the Franco away, now Martis is free to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I guess the Harif is something that I think based on their performance and their playstyles as well, they may consider bringing it on the table. Tiger Wong does have very, very big issues in dealing with mobility characters as well. Ling is something that they would definitely struggle, considering that they have heroes that just don't have strong catch potential. At the same time, right now, I feel like Tiger Wong is in a little bit of a tough spot to deal with all the heroes from ALVA 8, right? Like, personally, I like the idea that drafts are very meta-ish, sort of, but I still think the biggest problem right now is that if ALVA 8 decides to bring a carry, the Brody and Edith is not going to have an easy time. But as soon as I say this, they pick up the Brody, pretty strong as well. Fanny completely ignored Tron the entire path, so maybe they're setting up for a Fanny final pick from Tiger Wong Esports, expecting the ALVA 8 not picking up the Kufra, which is very possible as well. They can still play a Grok gold lane, but
Grok XP, right? We've seen Grok XP.
Grok XP is pretty good as well.
Grok XP, full damage, BOD second item, and he just one-shots you. Though I think that this might set up for claw angle, right? It is a hero that Aaron Shiki does play, and you know, fair enough that Tiger Wong Esports don't really have a way to catch the Claude, well, effectively catch the Claude in these chaotic team fights. So ALVA 8, I think, have an option to go for the Claude, and for the XP lane, it's the Lapu Lapu, there's the Yuzhong. Wow, they completely throw that out the window. They put the Ruby in, they bring up the Lunox. Lunox go lane, and I think it's an XP Grok.
Okay, this is a little bit different now. Okay, I get the Ruby is okay as a safety net. It works both ways, right? If you go for Kufra, it pretty much hard blocks and says, hey, I'm facing up Fanny. But if you pick up Ruby, it still has a mixed hybrid of catch potential. Maybe even if they decide to go for Fanny, Ruby can somewhat do something to some degree. So I like that they're adapting, but I'm not liking that this is a gold lane Lunox, because over time, eventually, if they don't close out the game as quickly as well, Tiger Wong is going to make a very, very strong argument towards the later stage of the game. In this case, the final pick is going to be the jungler, or in this case, they can stick with the Fredrin jungle, like you said as well, XP Edith, maybe even Roller.
Okay.
But no, they go for the Matilda, so they are going to be sticking with the Fredrin jungle, XP Edith, instead of Roam Edith.
Yeah, there's just not much teams that run the XP Fredrin, right? I guess just because Fredrin deals extra damage to jungle monsters and you put that jungle emblem, it just clears camp so fast. I do agree on the Lunox point. I think ALVA 8 needs to close the games out quick, and you know, before Tiger Wong goes into that late game that's post 15 minutes. But I do adore the Ruby pick. It's one of those very common answers alongside the Martis to really make Fredrin's life incredibly complicated in these team fights. Now, but I think the Matilda has a big responsibility to really let Gugun do his job in these team fights.
Well, this is going to be a very difficult game, because if you see about it, ALVA 8's draft, almost everyone deals with this Parsa, whereas Tiger Wong Esports, they've got a draft where they have a very, very strong late game. My predictions on them, your predictions on ALVA 8. So far, it all comes down to execution. Drafts has pretty much been set here, and both teams are going to duke it out for game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoy the show, because we are jumping straight into game 1, and this is going to be up on screen.
Honestly, my friend, I feel like our prediction so far has been very one-sided since the start of the Open Finals. This might be the most even one that we've had. You know, it's one of those that you can pop off if your team wins, but I wouldn't be sad, because you know, it's just a series that I genuinely enjoy, and I'm very excited to see how these two Indonesian squads square off. Tiger Wong definitely have a bit of that pride on the line. This is a very prideful team, and ALVA 8, they're just happy to be in top 4.
Well, hopefully it is going to be as it seems here, because as of yet, we can see a little bit of aggression coming in from Rexley. On the top side, he's gone for tenacity as a tank emblem instead of the Brave here, but at the same time, you see a little bit of aggression here. Winspo is going to get caught up. They are going to try and make a jump on it. They force the flicker in, and Winspo might actually die to this as well. He tried to go for the passive. He crosses it, and he somehow survives, but Rins at the last take will get the kill across. So Tiger Wong will have a very, very early lead from this get-go.
I feel like Eliora was very certain that Winspo is going to go down, didn't bother trying to provide a bit of backup, but could have been slightly different for ALVA 8 in terms of the outcome, but we see that Matilda really coming through early on, just making sure that this Fredrin can constantly stick onto a target that is not as mobile as this Ruby in this early stage, not as beefy as well. Now they're going to make a move to that XP lane. Rexley and Reigns, they're going to try and gang out together onto Jirachi, forcing the flicker out. They won't have damage to take him down, but they force him away.
I genuinely feel bad for Rexy. Rexy tried to go in for the pool setup, but because Grok was able to have his capabilities, he's going to get out. But at the same time, they force another flicker rotation up top as well. So the mid lane is not having a good time. Rexy does have the protection from Rins. Tiger Wong completely dominating turtle control on top of it all. ALVA 8, absolutely nothing they can do. They give Dada Dududu a little bit of soap XP down mid. That means they will secure the turtle for themselves.
Good news is Aaron Shiki did force the flicker out from Saffril.
Bottom lane.
I think he did receive a bit of help from Zian, but oh, the stun! Oh, Saffril backflip onto that. Gets decimated, but the trade was good. That's all that they need, and Dadi Durido might even get Zian. He's gonna try and dive the turret. Why did you do that, my friend? Never ever dive on monsters like that. Can Riz at least get it? Yes, he does! The Indonesian sniper from Tiger Wong does it.
Okay, Rins, what a snipe. However, he's gonna get caught out right now. They're calling it Laura. Can he survive this? Taking a little bit too much damage. Selfray is here to say hello, and immediately ALVA 8 is gonna back out. He's gonna die a second time, despite Arashiki's blunder. Fortunately for ALVA 8, they were able to salvage that blunder down bottom, but hopefully it does not hurt Tiger Wong enough. But at the same time, the economy is still 50-50 for both sides as of yet.
Saffril had a chance to backtrack, but he decides to take that long route. It's definitely a bit of a weird choice, but him dying 2 times in a row is going to hurt that progression a little bit. ALVA 8 very, very happy with the punish that they had. You can see this dive in this replay. Obviously, Saffril, massive outplay, gets decimated. Gets a 1-1 trade, but Dali Durido was just a bit too ambitious. Thought he could somehow get a finisher against the Martyrs, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult as well. He was expecting maybe Rins is going to provide in time, but great salvage coming from Rins for actually challenging that fight. And eventually the fight kind of dropped out a little bit awkwardly. But you can see there's a lot of desperation coming from ALVA 8. They know for a fact that their time is against their essence. They've got to find opportunities like this once and over and every single game. You cannot afford to have Tiger Wong in the lead. And currently the economy is favoring Tiger Wong because there is just so much pressure taken away from the top side. And Rexley right now is having the time of his life right now on top side.
Oh yeah. And while we were looking at that replay, Aaron Shiki went down a second time. So Tiger Wong Esports sets up for a turtle, no chance of contest. Vinsmoke sees this, but the jungle is not that I mean, the Martyrs doesn't want to contest at all, and now they will end up losing Vinsmoke once more. You gotta really keep your distance when there's a Matilda. You cannot walk up like that.
Yeah, that's a little bit greedy and ambitious coming from ALVA 8, considering that they are sending them to actually punish the top side. Aaron Shiki, however, doesn't have the brilliance. He's not a boy moment, but the taunt will be enough to shut him down, and they have no choice but to trade up top side. Rexley now going to be forcing us out, going for the fight. He's all by himself. He's 1v2, but he is at need of his going a little bit of tank. But Zion doing so much to actually annoy the heck out of him, but eventually he will die, and Zion gets the decimate across. So fortunately for them, they are going to be a-okay, but Tiger Wong getting full map present control down bottom now. Hopefully get a little bit more down middle. Zion forced to join in the fight, but the decimation is on cooldown for now. They're going for the pull. Vinsmoke not connecting the dot. Federation comes in, but no one to interrupt him. Jirachi forced to back out and save his teammate, and they do get a trade off, but the bigger picture is the trades are not favoring them at all.
Both Romans go down, and now stolen feather airstrike from Eliora. Riz trying to cancel it, does force it to end prematurely, but at the end of the day, I think the consolation prize for ALVA 8 is that you take out the Edict, you get that top tier 1, at least you trade something in return. So they are still at a deficit, but it's kind of the best case scenario out of what has transpired in the past 2 minutes for ALVA 8.
We are going to be seeing a little bit of a lane swap coming from Tiger Wong Esports. Immediately sending up Safri up top to try and trade for Grog, but here comes the fan air trying to force the wall charge in, not connecting on the far side means there's going to be a lot of damage coming in as well, but Dada D is in the vicinity to try and threaten this as well. It's a little bit risky, but it seems like Safri really wants a tier 1, but he gets pulled up. Here comes the combo as well. The gliding wheel will get him out of safety and he's going to be fine, but the rest of the team coming from Tiger Wong Esports immediately hear the response. Zion shows his face and immediately say, goodbye, Tiger Walk. So Tiger Walk, they will be able to get out safely, knowing that they have no reason to challenge this at all. Time is in their favor. In this case, ALVA 8 is getting a little bit desperate now.
Yeah, they definitely are. Aaron Shiki is not having a good game at all. Vince Mo couldn't make the plays that he wanted to, even though this pick was meant to really annoy Tiger Wong Esports, but they were not given a chance to play a full-out team fight. And now Vince Mo again forced away the torn apart memory, just not enough to take him down. But you have this Matilda just taking control of your jungle. It's a big problem if you're ALVA 8.
Yeah, this is very, very difficult. They need to find a way to actually pick him off. And currently, Aaron Shiki not having the lead that he needs, because in terms of itemization as well, he's got a Clock of Destiny, pretty late game oriented as well. He's got a hooded as well, so he's looking for the glowing wand purchase instead of a Trunkian. So that's something a little bit more concerning. Maybe a little bit different as well. Maybe potentially a genius one, which is something that is very favorable to a kind of scale with the Valentina. But the question remains is, can they do so? Because if you pay attention to items as well, Tiger Wong Esports, they've got 2 Radiant Armor purchase right up for a get-go for both Rexley as well as Guggen. So that means a majority of Ludong's damage has been completely negated in the middle stage of the game.
They even had a decent start, right? It all began with that one dive in that bottom tier 1, and now ALVA 8 finally finding an opportunity to stick together as a full squad, but they are not given a chance to take a fight. As long as this Matilda, as long as Dadi Duedo can keep them at bay, they are going to stop a team fight from happening, and Guggen, he can face check this. He is a Fredrin, and you have support from Rins in the backline as well. Safril is in the corner, no one knows where he is. ALVA 8, you have to be really careful in this position because this Matilda, he's going to start walking up. And while that was happening, bottom tier 2 taken by Rexy.
Really smart coming from Tiger Wong Esports. They know for a fact that they cannot force the fight. All they got to do is just get them checked in bay, and because of that, they lose a tier down bottom. And ALVA 8, they're now finally going to get pressured once again. Gugu going to go for some fight. Gets a 2-man taunt. That's huge, but Rins, does he want to try and force the fight? Because as of yet, ALVA 8, they want to make the jump on this Farsa. And it seems like they don't want to take the risk yet. They're trying to find the right moment to strike as well, but taking a lot of 2 damage. They're going for the feather airstrike from far behind. Rexy comes in, the taunt as well. Going to try and keep them at bay, but the tier 1 is there to say, hey, you cannot fight this. Tiger Wong says they're low. Let's try and bait them out even more by forcing the Lord.
I don't think ALVA 8 can even contest the Lord, not with Rexy actually seeing where Zion is, and it's too late. The Lord is already down. Zion can't even get a chance to get close to the Lord. Now he gets knocked out. Cannot use the Ashtura. Tries to dash to safety, but doesn't work out. Rexy now in the front lines with Matilda to get a 2-man wall charge. Stolen feather airstrike comes out, but the damage isn't there. Now Rince responds in kind. Tiger Wong Esports walks away with a kill and a Lord.
Oh my goodness, I genuinely feel bad for Elura. He's gotten so many steals with the feather airstrike, but because of the Radiant Armor up on Edith as well as the Fredrin, he's just barely doing damage as well. But pay attention to Valentina's items. He's got the Clock of Destiny as well as a Lightning Trunk, and despite that, the burst barely tickling down, and this is very, very concerning because eventually they have to solely depend on Jirachi landing those big wall charges, and I don't think that's reliable damage at all.
Yeah, and I just love how Tiger Wong Esports recognizes that ALVA 8 has a comp that wants to fight as 5. We don't let them fight as 5. We split them apart and we just take control of the map. And ALVA 8, they were looking for these kind of fights, and maybe they found it, and yes they do. They shut down the Farsa. Guggen cannot proceed, but Tiger Wong Esports have gotten so much pressure around the map. Maybe it won't matter though. Guggen getting the ultimate off. Zion comes in with a good snip, but unfortunately no follow-up from ALVA 8.
Oh, Rexley gonna get caught out. He's taking a little bit of damage, but this is Edith coming in as well. The Matilda sustains is gonna keep them alive. Safri forced to flicker out. He does a decent amount of damage, but it forces a lot of ultimates coming from ALVA 8. And as you can see, damage output-wise, Tiger Wong is not lacking. And we talked about late game potential. They are finally reaching a stage where Safri is gonna be a big threat for ALVA 8. Eventually, they have to make 2 choices. Do they focus on Safri or do they focus on Rins? And either or, it's still going to be an uphill battle coming for ALVA 8.
The fact that this game is at this state right now means that if ALVA even wants to have a chance to kind of cut through those resistance, you're looking at items like, you know, the Divine Glaive. We saw the Genius one purchased by Aaron Shiki, but I don't think that alone is enough. You need a bit more magic penetration, which means Divine Glaive has to be a consideration for Eliora down the road. They see Gugun, but this Fredrin has been doing way more than he should have against a draft like ALVA 8.
What? Winter Trunket purchase coming from Dada D-Do-Do? Rather early as a Matilda. It seems like they're not that worried about damage output. They are just going to play the kind of game. And speaking of the Divine Glaive, you talked about it, Aaron Shiki getting it right from the get-go. That is a lot of damage from the Lunox to try and penetrate through the tanks of Tiger WONG Esports. But still, is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? That's going to be my question, because as of yet, now, here comes the engagement. They do find Rexy. They are going to try and force the issue.
Yeah, they're going to try and get rid of Gugun as well. Aaron Shiki forced to flicker away. Now Feather Airstrike completely splitting the battle line. And look at Daddy Dorado. Oh, he runs straight into Vinsmoke, knocks him back. Vinsmoke able to dash to safety. Daddy Dorado getting terrified, forced backwards. No follow-up from Tiger WONG. ALVA 8 escapes.
Oh, smart play coming from ALVA 8. They were able to disengage, but Lord Control is in their favor. They managed to bait out multiple ultimates in this engagement, but is it gonna be enough? Zion is still there. He's got the decimation. He needs to start a fight somehow, but everyone from Tiger WONG is just ignoring him. But it seems like the taunt comes in. They're waiting for the Lord Storm. Lord is still relatively healthy, but look from behind! The wall charge catches on the Matilda. They caught Safri, but there's no follow-up. The rest of his team gets completely disrupted by Gugun, and now Gugun with the Appraiser's Drop and taunt. He gets it, he gets to, he gets out. Double kill from Safri to go in for the ramp up, and now Winsmoke, last man standing. Absolutely nothing he can do. And Tiger WONG says, screw the Lord, we're taking the throne. We're gonna focus on the Ancient. We're gonna close out game one, and it's gonna be GG well play for Tiger WONG Esports.
Huge desynchronization towards the end. Jirachi found the play, but his team didn't find him. They were all zoned out by one pesky Fredrin, who shouldn't even be a problem in the first place, at least on paper, but could have been so much different, just did not work out. Tiger WONG Esports, dominant game number one. This was a Tiger WONG that we all know and love, and maybe yesterday's hiccup has been completely forgotten with this opening. It's a strong statement from this squad.
We knew for a fact that ALVA 8 needed to win the early game, and even here as well, they took a very aggressive dive from Aaron Shiki to try and punish Safri multiple times, but despite all that, Safri somehow manages to equalize the score, and because of all this pressure down bottom, and even this pickoffs coming from Rins, it kind of allowed Tiger WONG to just do whatever they want throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and this was also a game where it started out decent until Safril did this, right? 2 deaths in a row, and you thought that, okay, maybe Aaron Shiki gets to recover, but he ends up being completely fed to the Sharks. And this one, Jirachi finds a massive play. Rest of ALVA 8, they were not even close to take a fight. There's no openings for that. And you can kind of see the disconnect. ALVA 8 was so desperate, they were not coordinated in that final fight, and it eventually costed them that game one.
Yeah, that final pickoff as well, you can see Gugun's positioning to just zone the back line. Aaron Shiki just could not do anything, and even Aaron Shiki as well, full health, completely one-shotted by the abrasive round from Gugun. So it just shows you how annoying one can be. But at the same time, GG well played for Tiger WONG Esports. Itemization-wise, you know, I really like how smart they were. First item reading armor coming from both Rexy and Gugun kind of limited all the options for both Eliora as well as Aaron Shiki to be able to pop off. You can see Eliora, he's got 0, 1, and 3. It's 2, 4, 2 on Aaron Shiki. I'm not surprised that the damage output is not that high coming from both Eliora and Aaron Shiki. But even if it's high, it just shows you that how difficult it is to actually punish Tiger WONG Esports composition.
And I think, you know, when you have a composition like ALVA 8, it is not too difficult to build against, right? When both your main damage dealers do magic damage, it's all just magic resistance for Tiger WONG Esports. And I think at the end of the day, it's also how Tiger WONG didn't give ALVA 8 a chance to play the composition the way they wanted. They like 5-man teamfights, Grog Wall, War Charge, big combo, taunt the backline. But if we keep splitting them out, we put this Fredrin in front, we have this Matilda running interference behind in backlines, ALVA 8 would never get the chance to fight the way they want.
Yeah, you talk about sustainability as well. I think briefly on stats as well, I was able to see 30,000 hero damage coming from both Aaron Shiki as well as Eliora. both magical damage as compared to the Farsa who's got 50k damage.
Oh,
So
yes.
it kind of says a lot of how things kind of getting kited around because of the itemizations.
Yeah, definitely a strong start for Tiger Wong Esports, but of course, it's not done yet. We just got this evening started, and we're going to start it off by thanking everyone who made this happen. Snapdragon Elite Gaming, when winning matters. They are the mastermind, the head, the heart, and the soul of this project, and they gave everyone a chance to showcase what they're made of. So really appreciate what they've done for us, but we also want to thank Samsung Galaxy for being a part of this amazing journey. Check out the latest Galaxy S23 Ultra because that baby is a sweet, sweet deal.
Yep. And of course, be sure to let us know in the comment section as well. What do you guys think of the matches as well? Be sure to share the stream and also let us know your best experience with it as well. And of course, last but not least, remember to release the inner beer, sweet monster energy. As you can see, you can check out our website as well. Get yourself a couple of sweet drinks, power yourself through the day, and enjoy a couple of good drinks with all good friends and enjoy some Mobile Legends Bang Bang action.
Yeah, and finally, if you are still a big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, the collaboration with Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and you want to get the best top-up for your diamonds, check out Kachi Shop, www.kachishop.com. I got Gojo Satoru, he just got Gojo Satoru. You can get a Gojo Satoru as well.
Thank you, Kachi Shop, for making my life a little bit easier because 6k diamonds feels a little bit heartening.
Yeah.
But with Kachi Shop, I was able to save up a little bit more compared to what I was supposed to pay.
Absolutely, and getting Gojo, all worth it.
Worth it.
We're gonna
Worth it.
take a break and marvel at our newly acquired skins, but you guys should definitely come back in just a bit because Game 2 in the lower bracket semifinals will resume in just a short while.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Yeah. We be hot, mama got game. Check my team, we like the flame. We be bougie, y'all sound the same. We be, mama got game. We be hot, mama got game. Check my team, we like the flame. We be bougie, y'all sound the same. We be, mama got game. Yeah. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls, cause we don't do it like you do. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls. Yeah, mama got game. Mama got game. Yeah, mama got game. Yes. Yeah, mama got game. Rockin' be rockin' the game. Hear them screaming, they screaming my name. We be up on the fame. We be all of the power we reign. Rockin' be rockin' the game. Hear them screaming, they screaming my name. We be up on the fame. We be all of the power we reign. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rules, cause they don't do it like we do. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rules. Yeah, mama got game. Mama got game. Yeah, mama got game. Yes. Yeah, mama got game.
Welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang. This is the Season 1 Open Finals, and we just closed out the first game of the lower bracket semi-finals between Tiger Wong Esports and ALVA 8. And Tiger Wong basically shrugged off yesterday's sloppiness, at least for Game 1. They came in absolutely dominating. And it's me, Husky, and ICBB 1-2. We're going to bring you guys the rest of the action.
1-0, baby. 1-0. If you guys are watching the stream, you know what I'm talking about. If you guys have been watching for the past few weeks, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm feeling a little bit confident here, Husky. You know, I don't know what comes after 6.
Yeah,
There's a possible 7 coming in, bro.
It is 7. It's already 7, my friend. It's 7-1 right now.
With me, it
Oh,
doesn't
right, yeah,
count.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
between
Oh,
me
yeah,
and
yes,
you.
yes,
With Contra, it's a
team-
completely
yeah.
different story. But with me, it's different. You know,
Yeah.
6-0, 6-0. You know,
Yeah, this platform, right, is perfect for someone like him because
Yeah.
he cares a lot about winning, and that's aligning with one of our friends at Snapdragon
Yes.
Elite Gaming when winning matters. Honestly, I'm just glad I get to make your day a bit better whenever we work together.
Don't jinx it.
No,
it's not over yet. You know,
yeah,
it's
I'm-
still game
I'm not
2. Alright,
I'm a
alright.
genuine person. When have I ever been this ingenuous, right? If I say, I am happy that your day is better if you continue that clean streak, I mean it. But obviously, it comes down to the teams. I can only do so much as a curse. ALVA 8 has broken it yesterday. So right now, it's up to you, my friend. It's up to Tiger Wong to really put the nail in the coffin.
Hey, I don't know, man. You know, for you guys as fans, what you guys think? Will ALVA 8 bounce back or will not? Because in production side, they are expecting game number 3.
Oh, yes.
And personally, I would like to see Tiger Wong win all the way. But personally, I love a good Mobile Legends game. I love it if it's long games. We get to experiment the draft a little bit more. We get to see more action coming in. And most importantly, I feel like ALVA 8, what they can do right now is fight for their life. And not just that, because the reason why Game 1 didn't exactly go according to plan was it all came down to draft. They had a very, very high risk, high reward draft. Didn't exactly work out. They needed a snowball in their favor, completely denied by Tiger Wong. And that's the only reason why they kind of lost Game 1. So Game 2, fix their draft, all good.
I think we're both in agreement about the Lunox, right? It's definitely kind of that go big or go home moment. It would be a heartbreak though if ALVA 8 cannot recover, because they have done so well yesterday in terms of really kind of just putting the game aside, putting the previous game aside and focusing on what comes next. It's good to see that, there's not much tension. These guys are still very much kind of in the element.
I don't know about not much tension, right? It feels like they're having a heated argument on what they need to fix on their draft. They looked a little bit stumped here. And I'm worried. I'm really worried for ALVA 8 right now.
Yeah, it's fair to say the only thing that had a bit of a problem was that goal lane. Everything else was as good as it can be. But of course, for Tiger Wong Esports, they definitely are in the driver's seat. It's a spot that they are very, very familiar with. They're always in the driver's seat.
I'm genuinely curious, what are they eating right now? Because it kind of reminds me of a childhood chocolate.
Is it the chocolate?
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. And because of this, guys, I actually want to have a, it itself. I'm not going to say the brand name, producers told me what it was.
Yeah.
I think it is, but it kind of brings me, I feel kind of old.
I feel like you can get it. Like I went to Indonesia not long ago. I'm not sure if you can get it there. I'm pretty sure maybe
we can
somewhere.
get it here.
Exactly. Yeah, my point is if it's there, and they do have it, right? Same bands though, 1-1 Kaja Joy. I don't think there will be much difference though. I feel like that far miss, like something I want to agree with you, is not too important, not in the first phase at least.
I guess, but what's surprising for me is that ALVA 8 opted to go first pick once again, despite the opening draft, right? They got Valentina, which was great. Not much of a threat against Tiger Wong Esports, just because of the fact that they got very, very early radar armor that just completely helps the teamfight potential. Madilda sustain was something that's really, really well as well. We've seen Estes pickups from time to time, which is oftentimes very hard to debate, right? If you go for a healing composition, tanks oftentimes have to make a decision. Do they focus on the mage or do they focus on getting those early dominance eyes to deal with the sustainabilities, or do they rush the Dreadnought armor? And this has been a big debate between all tank players. Dreadnought armor first, dominance eyes first, or radiant armor first. And it's very expensive because each item has very, very different itemization timings in terms of how the game progresses over time. And as of yet, ALVA 8 sticking to their roots. This time they banned off the Edith. They let the Martyrs through to Tiger WONG Esports. They're denying it away from ALVA 8, and this time I like it a little bit more. Glue also completely ignored. Farm is completely up in the pool as well. I don't think Tiger WONG Esports would pick the Promise, but if ALVA 8 decides to go for it, I wouldn't mind, but it's going to be very risky.
Yeah, it's kind of that Blue split. Well, I'm going to try to kind of burst him down with the Farmis, but they do go for it.
Oh.
And so far, Farmis hasn't really had a good time in the Open Finals. It's been picked 11 times, but you can see the abysmal win rate for Farmis.
Absolutely, you know, down in the gutter.
I honestly still think that Sure is not a bad hero, but the conditions to make him work are so specific, you might as well go for something that's easier to execute.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit risky, but hopefully it is going to go well for them. However, will Tiger WONG kind of mirror the matchup? Because we've seen teams kind of mirror it with Diggy back in the previous seasons. I like the Yuzhong pickup as well, coming from ALVA 8, kind of solidified that Tiger WONG Esports will have a very difficult time to chunk through the Coward Altar. However, Xavier is something that is really, really good. We talk about Gojo Satoru. I think the Xavier is a great way to deal with the Cloud Altar. It's pretty much guarantees wave clear, or in terms of the entirety of the Cloud Altar in general, right?
But that is if you don't get dove on by the Yuzhong, right? Like there are ways to kind of just get on top of you. I think Farsa also kind of faces the same problem. If you're not careful, this Yuzhong is going to go into Black Dragon form, drop on you, petrify, and you just get forced away from the fight. But that's just a usual thing, right? There's not much answers to that. I do think that, you know, the Farsa does exactly the same thing. You still get to deal with the Cult Altar the way you want to. The onus right now is on ALVA 8. You have the XP laner, you have the mid laner. Who goes into the jungle, right? You are leaving a big hole in that draft that Tiger WONG can now just specifically target. And the Melissa ban is a very good understanding of just eliminating a hero that can keep your team away.
I'm a little bit surprised by Tiger WONG banning of the Melissa, right? Considering that Melissa is a decent way to deal with both the Black Dragon as well as the Cloud Altar, so they might have been able to pick it up for themselves. But what's even more concerning right now is that, is this glue going to be XP, or is this a roaming roamer coming from Tiger WONG Esports? And so far, they are, I would say, comfortable with playing triple tank setup, right? Tank jungler, tank XP, as well as tank roamer. But I feel like in terms of damage output, it is going to be very concerning for Tiger WONG Esports, and ALVA 8 may look to punish this. And there are not a lot of heroes that can actually deal with high tankiness, and besides for carry, maybe even the clean is pretty good as well. But do they want to stick with that? Cloud is pretty decent with the DHS, but I don't think it's going to be enough to deal with all the tankiness coming from Tiger WONG Esports. But as of yet, they ban off Harith, they ban off the Brody once again. What is Safra going to play? Is he going to play the Clin, or is he going to play a potential carry in this regards? And most of the marksmen is just taken out of the equation right now.
If we go down the list, probably you're looking at Clin, Claude, carry.
I don't know. I haven't seen
Granger. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, Granger's pretty decent as well. Super underrated. Jungle Granger isn't too bad. They can force the Martyrs into XP. Not necessarily my personal favorite, but
there's the Beatrix.
What we talking about?
We completely forgot about the Beatrix. Now we get to talk about the rest of the marksman pool.
Okay, 30% win rate. That's kind of sus. I'm expecting a little bit higher win rate coming from Beatrix. It's just overall so good at dealing in overall team fights as well. Yuzhong can't exactly sustain through the entirety of damage. Kaurata gets completely decimated by the RENO shots.
And now we really, and I think a lot of the win rate has been taken away by Moskov, right? So many teams are first facing him. Now we get to go down that list. Without Beatrix in the pool, there's generally not much left. Like, I feel carry is a horrible idea, because I don't think you can even be in vicinity of a team fight, right? The Feather Airstrike completely destroys you.
Yeah.
Beatrix outranges you and you have so many layers of damage you need to go through. So they go for the Ling and the Lolita, and we are what?
XP Yu Zhong?
So
Gold lane Yu Zhong? XP Valentina?
Gold lane Valentina?
Nah. Okay, I've seen it happen.
Well, at least there's a balance of mixture of damage, right? It's
fine.
just not full like magic, but okay. I mean, definitely creative.
Okay, there is going to be a lack of mobility coming from Tiger Wong Esports when it comes to split push potential, but there is going to be a lot of emphasis on how Zion is going to be playing in this game as the link. So this is going to be a very, very risky composition from ALVA 8. I like the idea. They're going for split push composition. Tiger Wong has no choice but to force a 5v5. So it seems like ALVA 8's draft, they're looking to dodge fights throughout the entirety of the game. And I guess it's a pretty smart strategy considering that how game 1 went against Tiger Wong.
And then there's just no marksman that they favor, I suppose. But this is an issue that we discussed last week in terms of drafting when you have a firearm miss, right? Ling is one of those few heroes that doesn't really benefit from the Call Altar because most of the time he's not going to be in the area of effect. So you have the Call Altar to protect your team, sure, but if your Ling dies, then I feel like you are going to lose out on so much tempo. This seems to be another attempt at ALVA 8 trying to play a snowballing draft, just a different version of it.
Well, this is going to be a very, very difficult one, but without further ado, let's find out whether or not will they bounce back for game number 2, or is it going to be a clean sweep? This is game number 2 of ALVA 8 going up against Tiger Wong Esports.
When we say creativity, when we say you know, very distinctive draft,
they are definitely on there.
They're definitely there, right?
Top
there.
1 right now.
Second place, top 1 is still the Jungle Minotaur. I think nothing tops that as of now, but I think ALVA definitely a close second. Jirachi not doing too well. The very early pressure coming out from both the Glue and the Fasa, and Jirachi, he's going down. First blood for Rins.
What are you doing there, Rins? Like, why are you here instead of mid lane? That's a little bit interesting, but I guess Tiger Wong is just taking advantage of the fact that ALVA 8 doesn't have very quick wave clear down middle, and he's got the wing swiping to actually rotate the lane. So I guess that's a very interesting way to play Farsight, and it's actually working out in Tiger Wong's favor.
And he completely screws over Jirachi because right now he's going to have his wave cut, he's going to be behind in experience, and you know, all the stack together, he might not hit level 4 in time for the first turtle fight as well. He just hit level 3, he needs a wave and a half, and he's not going to get it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough as well, considering Yu Zhong, if he lands a steal, the Glue is going to be able to punish him as well. Zayed looking to cancel off the wind nature there, but at the same time, Tiger Wong doesn't really matter about this. They're just playing them safe. They want to make sure that Rinsley has a pretty good time against Yu Zhong, but once Yu Zhong has the level 4, things are going to get a little bit difficult for Tiger Wing Sports. However, the Petrify is still on cooldown before this first Lord Turtle fight, and hopefully, I guess, that's going to be ALVA 8's strategy. They want to make sure he hits his 4 first, and it seems like Tiger Wong, they're not looking to contest this as well. Ling is in position, setting up. He doesn't go for the purple buff yet, but bottom lane, the snipe comes in! Zafriel getting the shot onto his Aaron Shiki, and this is the second time Aaron Shiki has been sniped from across in that bush, and this is not helpful for him at all. Immediately, we see a response down middle as well. Tiger Wong says, you know what, as long as the Link doesn't have purple buff, do they steal it? It seems like they do not.
No.
They force the retribution out of Zion, means turtle contact is going to be very, very difficult, and now the skirmishes comes in. They force the Black Dragon in. Jirachi looking to disengage, and Gugu now needs to make a run with his Martin.
No.
Do they have the damage? They get a 3-man stun coming from Jirachi to prolong the fight, and now Rexy going for the split. He's going to try and latch onto Jirachi, pull him back, pulls him bot, and here comes the second feather airstrike coming in from Riz to get the kill. They pop the counter altar. It's a little bit too late, and Loria, he's a little bit low. He needs to make a run for it. He goes for a flicker, and now Rexy once again a second split latches in. Does he have the damage? Yes, he does, and they pick him apart as Tiger Wong just completely dumpsters this fight.
Aaron Shiki having a terrible series so far, and that team fight basically just shows us that ALVA 8 don't really have the tools to deal with Rexley. Not in this early stage at least. And sure, Zian got the purple buff, only got an assist, and that fight was just saved by a good treatment. Petrify on Jirachi, but at the end of the day, Tiger Wong Esports just got so much more out of it. And this mage, gold laner, it's not gonna work out. I mean, he's out of range.
No.
Nani he's dead. They respond with their own feather airstrike, and a bit of a rocket barrage to finish off Vinsmoke.
Oh, that was so desperate coming from ALVA. They should not have gone for that fight. They just didn't have the follow-up. And even though they were able to slow down Saffrio, but losing their life, not necessarily good as here, because Tiger Wong is going to get a little bit more space. Zion once again getting interjected once again by Tiger Wong. And the rest of the teams are here, and they need the Lolita. They need a big fat Nominum Blast, but it's going to be difficult. Retribution again is going to get stolen, and Goga gets the kill, and they are going to go dive. Double kill for Tiger Wong Esports now, looking for the triple, the third decimation from Gugun. 3 kills in a row, and Iron Shiki all the way to the bottom. The Feather Airstrike comes in. Here comes a harassment for Iron Shiki. It is a little bit desperate, but is he going to survive? No, Saffrio will flicker forward to get the finish, and Tiger Wong, once again, a complete dominance in both games.
I know it's early to say this, but this game has already gone out of control pre-5 minute. Ling, another problem is that you dive in, if you get hit by the Ashura, which can be buffered by Gugun,
no way.
There's no way you get your spells off, and now Dadido, he's going to try and cut them off. Doesn't find an angle, but Xian, he's already out of the fight, and this Ruby, he will not be touched. Tiger Wong is having a fantastic game. Free Smoke is level 5, and just look at this. He really wants that purple buff. Goes into a Tempest of Blade, drops right down, gets immediately hit by the Ashura and decimated, and the rest was just history.
Decimation kills on top of it all. It's gonna just completely pop off, and this is very, very concerning for ALVA 8. However, we do see a little bit of harassment once again. Zion this time without purple buff. This is gonna be a landed property right now. In this case, Tiger Wong looking to try and cash out. However, Turtle gonna be in a contest once again. They don't have the retribution out of Zion, but Zion doesn't have the chance to do so. He's going to prioritize on his purple buff instead. Tiger Wong will get away for free. 6k economy lead in their favor, and looking to dominate in terms of space, and ignoring jungle, and they want to go for the Iron Shiki right now.
Vinsmoke is there, spots out the Ruby, so prevents a potential gank, secures that purple buff for Xian, which is finally a breather, a room for ALVA 8 to breathe, but it's not over yet. Now they actually jump on Rinse, cancel the Feather Airstrike early, but they have no follow-up to finish off this Farsa. I mean, the Numinal Blast, flicker forward, actually able to start on the Saffron. That is an important target if they can take it down. Call also used as well, but where's the damage? There is no damage from ALVA 8, and Gugun, he's just gonna get an easy execute underneath the tier 1, and at the end of that, they end up losing 2 members on ALVA 8, and Xian, why are you in the fight? Gugun looks for him, couldn't find him, but Tiger Wong once more getting a punish.
Oh, this is actually weird, considering they've got the perfect counter engagement, but they just don't have the damage to follow through. It's very, very weird. I want to see the items on how Tiger Wong is progressing, but at this stage of the game, I don't think the items matter, because economy-wise, they're just so far ahead coming in from Tiger Wong Esports, and at this stage of the game, they can just tank through all the outbursts coming from ALVA 8. But as of yet, as soon as I say this, Dominance Eyes purchase up on the glue, Radiant Armor on their Martyrs means there is some sort of a distraction for both the Yu Zhong as well as both the Valentina. So this is kind of concerning. Berserker's Fury up on Zion. Hopefully that is going to be enough. But as of yet, the Link just getting completely punished for this fight as well. Rexley, look at this. He just doesn't really mind this. Got the split, but middle lane, they get to dive on Allura once again, and mid control is in favor of Tiger Wong.
And Rexy, he's 1v2ing this one. No problem.
My God.
He's gonna dive. He's gonna dive on the Jirachi with the split sticks onto it. Better airstrike. There it is. Black Dragon Form forced to be used. The final strike didn't connect. Rexley now in enemy lines, but they cannot catch him.
Oh, Allura could not pull him back to extend the fight, and at the same time, I don't think it's worth it. Tiger Wong has got the full team here. Saffron is here as well, looking to threaten tier 2. This seems to be a one-sided lob once again. They need to do something about this, but top side, you can see the third turtle going to be in position from Gugun as well. ALVA 8 has no information whatsoever, but as soon as I say that, it seems like Gugun is going to keep Zion in check. ALVA 8's last saving grace is going to be the Link going for the split push, and instantly denied by Gugun right now.
He needs a Lord Steal, and I think this Lord Steal, if he somehow gets it, would just be a neutralizer, but you know, judging from the state of the game, he is 3 levels, now 2 levels behind Gugun. There is no way Xian can do anything in these fights. He's gonna try and scout it out. The Lord dropping very low. He needs it right now, not even in range. And now they see this lane. They're gonna try and hunt him down. He does not have the purple buff. One last sleep is all that he has. They could not reach him, but Dadi Redo. He found him. What clips in mid-air? Xian gets pulled back. No damage. But again, they got the Lord.
Okay, they got the harassments in. Feather Airstrike is coming in as well. They're just using it to zone them out. But what are you doing, do? They're going for the push, and the glue now going to go for the interjection as well. They are going to get connected by the Numenon Blast, but where's the damage? Where's the follow-up? You can see ALVA 8 is just crumbling to pieces. Jirachi getting picked off on the side is not going to help them at all, as Tiger Wong will get away without any punishment at all.
That's all the battle spells, all the flickers used, and the Numenon Blast actually hit no one. Jirachi died mid Black Dragon form, and now Zien, he has nothing left. He is completely dead unless he can get away. But no, you have the Americans, well, the Indonesian sniper Rins with that Feather Airstrike, and Gugun, he's still going. Vinsmo, he will survive, but his teammates might not.
Well, in this case, the Lord is going to be crashing down the bottom lane. ALVA 8 in a very, very difficult spot. Meanwhile, Tiger Wong looking to close out the game. As you can see, bottom lane with the crash inhibitors exposed as well. ALVA 8 with Zion 5 seconds on the sidelines. They need to choose a fight, but it seems like they are going to choose it without Zion. They engage. Split has been formed as well. Rexley just completely ignores the damage. Illuria will be the first one to be picked up by Rins. Inhibitors are falling. Lord still healthy. They're losing members as well. They get the pick on Windsmoke. And now Lord threatening the crystal. Looks like Tiger Wong, they don't care. They pick up the dragon, and this is going to be game. A clean 2-0 by Tiger Wong Esports.
10 minutes, Aaron. 10 minutes. The Tiger Wong classic. Clean, decisive, full dominance. No chance at all. If you are ALVA 8, you bow to Tiger Wong today.
Oh, this is a very, very interesting game so far. Tiger Wong building up their KDA all the way from the bottom, and now they are in the lower bracket finals waiting for their next opponents, who's currently going to be playing next on the upper bracket finals. As ALVA 8, their journey will continue in the challenge finals, and that is going to be a sight to behold. But as of yet, in case you missed out on the action, this is going to be the highlights for game number 2.
Yeah, this is more of a Tiger Wong Esports Game 2 montage. There's nothing much more ALVA 8. This was probably the only good fight that they got. When I say good, it's an even fight at best, right? Tiger Wong Esports still was able to get the trades back. This fire mist pick completely dumpster. There's no chance for any call alter usage. And even if he uses that ultimate, there's no effectiveness. In that last fight, which I think we will see later on, he didn't even get to use his ultimate before he got bursted. It was just a complete train wreck for ALVA 8.
Really interesting as well, considering that Rexley was able to get 2 splits off that fight and get a free kill on top of it all. It just shows you how much damage Glue's first kill does after the revamp, right? People kind of underestimate that power, and after that play, it just kind of allowed Gugun to do his own thing. ALVA 8 couldn't find any opportunities to actually scale to the fight, and even here as well, Aaron Shiki died the exact same spot, not once, but multiple times in 2 different games. It just shows you that Tiger Wong understands their timings a little bit better on what they need to do and when to execute it.
Yeah, and this was a complete disaster for ALVA 8. They get the jump onto Saffro. He did not have flicker at that moment, but the lack of damage was just disastrous. And of course, you have Zien, who decides to show up. This is such a weird interaction. And of course, this final fight, you can see Eliora. I mean, yeah, there it is. Just enough time for me to say Eliora before he went down.
Now you see him, now you don't. In this case, that's going to be the model coming from Tiger Wong Esports, because they just completely wiped the floor with ALVA 8 in both games. And even here as well, at this stage, he was just pretty much done and dusted. There was nothing ALVA 8 could do. Hopefully, it is going to be a lesson for them to actually learn and how to fix themselves before the challenge finals. But eventually, congratulations to ALVA 8 for making the top 4 for now.
Yeah, either way, both for the same regions, but we know that Tiger Wong Esports is the better team in this series. ALVA 8, they can be very proud, right? Because yesterday could have been the last day for them, but they made it, they pulled through. But today, they just met Tiger Wong at their peak, completely brushed off yesterday's rustiness. Now they're back to their full form. Tiger Wong makes top 3.
Yeah, and based on damage output as well, Zenia just could not do anything at all. Barely hit the 10k mark in terms of damage output. Forced to play comeback from the start of the game. Illuria 18k damage, 27k coming from Valentina. Whereas compared to Tiger Wong, it's like 31k, 34k, barely even a big margin, but it just comes down to execution and dedication, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Jirachi is the only one who was able to touch a turret. Tiger Wong didn't lose a single turret that game. Rins will be our MVP for this series. Both games he played the Farsa, and it has been also almost untouched. This Farsa is a sight to behold.
Yeah, he is just a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully, it's going to be enough because they are going to be going up against the best tomorrow. So this is where things get a little bit more spicy because lower bracket finals is going to be happening tomorrow as well as the grand finals of this entire Open finals. And so far, Tiger Wong is one step away to taking a break and they can observe their next upcoming match.
And the best part about Tiger Wong being in the lower bracket finals is the fact that regardless of who they face off against tomorrow, they have not played any of those teams before because Tiger Wong never started from the upper bracket. It was a gauntlet run up to this point. So it will be a clean slate, which makes it even more exciting. But for now, Tiger Wong, like you mentioned, they get to rest early and witness the upcoming upper bracket finals.
It's weird enough, right? Considering that they started lower bracket, it just shows you how difficult their qualifiers are. And like it just shows you, it's like a big statement on how the skill gap can vary if they've made it this far. But of course, I might be wrong, I might be right, but what I do know, it's lucky number 7, bro. Lucky number. You got that? You know, 7?
So you are now 007.
It's 007, baby.
Yeah,
I've dressed the part, I looked the part, I've got a gentleman's look as well.
Yeah, set it up for you. Thank me later. You're welcome. But we also got to thank Samsung Galaxy for being a part of this. They have been instrumental in making this a vision a reality. So in order to kind of appreciate them, I would like to encourage you guys to check out the Galaxy S23 Ultra because these bad things, these bad babies, will also make your vision a reality with their amazing capture, amazing camera features.
In this case, you know what? Tiger Wong's got the B-Tricks, he's got the guns, and guess what? I've got the golden guns too, baby. 007, baby.
They definitely are bleeding green with that monster energy in their veins, unleashing the beast within them and also everyone else involved in the broadcast. Check them out, www.monsterenergy.com/gaming. We actually have a lot of Monster Energy left in the pantry. I think it's right timing for you to grab some as well.
Hey.
Keep that James Bond vibe going. You know, we still have one more upper bracket finals coming up next. GameLab against Slobber Knocker.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting as well. The best of the best are going to be, well, playing right after this. The undefeateds, they have not dropped it into the lower brackets yet, and this is going to be an interesting one to watch. So be sure to stick around, and we'll be right back after this break. My name is ICB12, here's Husky. We'll see you guys after this.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Taking my time, up in them clouds, rocking them shades, we rolling. Look at them moves, yeah, we can dance too. Yeah, we be tick-tocking, body rocking, check my clock, we ain't stopping. Till the sun comes up, till the
Hey, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang Season 1. My name is ICBaby12. Joining me is Husky as we take you through the commentary for today's games. And today's game has been a little bit... Okay, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit...
It's
fun for me, but not so fun matches though.
It was a walkover.
Yeah.
There's no better way to say it. I think, for the first series, Tiger WONG Esports were just so much better than ALVA 8 in terms of form today. But don't worry, we still have one more coming up. This one is going to be, I believe, a more interesting one. PBN Strike against GameLab in the upper bracket finals. Winners go straight into that grand final slot. That's going to be happening tomorrow. But for now, I think, it's fair to say that we still need a bit of kick to wake us up. We haven't really found that magical game yet. This is the updated bracket. Tiger WONG Esports just destroyed ALVA 8 2-0. Now they wait in the lower bracket finals. The next up is going to be GameLab and PBN Strike.
Well, they got to be watching the game as well as trying to figure out what the strategies are going to be made as well. GameLab has a very, very strong run, especially in their matches as well. They have not lost a single game, whereas PBN Strike has dropped one game against Error 404. And Error 404 in their journey as well, they lost 2 games against Tiger WONG Esports. So it just shows you how tight and close the games can get. And so far, GameLab seems to be undefeated so far.
Yeah, see, and we actually saw them once when they played against Evo Esports, and it wasn't even a close series by any stretch of imagination. But in case you missed out who GameLab is consists of, and we have it right on your screen right now: Herbos, Takenaga, Aizawa, Yuktizi, and Dokman.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting one as well, because GameLab, they have a very, very strong roamer, and oftentimes we do see teams kind of play around the mage, play around jungle, play around the marksman as a fallback here. GameLab, they have Dokman kind of leading the charge on almost every single game, and I believe one of the series as well, Dokman was the final MVP out of all the entirety of the game. It just shows you how intuitive that GameLab can be and how aggressive they can in terms of initiations.
Yeah, and you know that this team is so strong when you look at the roster and you're like, oh, we didn't really get to highlight a lot of some of these players because you just have this shining star. But at the end of the day, this team functions like clockwork. We talk a lot about Herbos in that XP lane, this complete dominance. And now PBN Strike needs to go up against him. It's not going to be easy. Nanami will take on the XP role. You have Raizo Anzai on in that jungle, Yojichenko mid lane, Blurs Anzai, gold lane, and Leone on the Roman role.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one considering that this is going to be Raizo going up against him, and can Raizo mirror the matchup? It's going to be something as well. Yojichenko is somebody that kind of stood out for me in terms of PBN Strike, right? So far, in the entire tournament, we've seen a lot of shining potential in the mid lane rather than most of the names, except for the exception of GameLab. So it seems like it comes down to strategy and it comes down to execution. What kind of composition are we going to be playing around at? And I think earlier today we talked about some teams prioritizing mid lane, there's some teams prioritizing meta heroes, and PBN Strike has been playing around the XP lane a lot. So I think Nanami and Xbox is going to be the bigger picture. But in case you guys are wondering as well, let's take a look at the gold lane matchup first before we talk about the XP lane.
This is going to be very, very interesting, right? We're looking at Yuktizi and Blurs Anzai, and obviously, the gold laner from PBN Strike made a very good impression. Very huge and effective Moskov player, but considering the meta, Moskov is going to be a very important ban coming from the side of GameLab, so I think this is going to be a challenge to see where Blurs Anzai goes. Even the numbers, they do favor Blurs Anzai more.
Yeah, let's talk about the stats a little bit more as well, because Blurs Anzai, he may have the higher KDA, he may have the little bit more higher kill participation, but pay attention to GPM, because if you think about it, logically speaking, GameLab has pretty much won all their games very one-sidedly and also very quick games, to a point that they don't really rely on UTZ to even close out the game, whereas PBN, they have relied Blurs Anzai a little bit more in the later stage of the game, and so it just shows you that there's a difference in approach in terms of playstyle, whereas, GameLab, they do kind of win the early stage of the game, whereas PBN, they do kind of play a longer duration of games compared to GameLabs.
Sounds like it's kind of a 2.0 version of ALVA 8 against Tiger WONG, right? But hopefully the result isn't going to be so. We don't see another walkover. In this case, I think you brought up a very good point just now, which was the the mid lane comparison. I think we talk a lot more about Yojichenko than Aizawa, but it's also because GameLab's focus was dictated a lot by Dokman.
Yeah, which is very interesting as well because they do play a very aggressive playstyle where because of how their fights go in their favor, it doesn't exactly translate into a later stage of game, and that is something that is very, very concerning. But what I want to know is that am I gonna get lucky number 8? Because me being Chinese, of course, I do like the lucky number 8, and will I get it? That's gonna be a question because I'm curious to see your predictions up on screen. That is something that I want to know.
I feel like you'll get it, it's a matter of time, but do you really want to strip off the James Bond 007? I feel like you should enjoy it a bit more. You gotta enjoy a bit. Enjoy life a bit.
For now.
Yeah. And we're gonna try and...
Yeah, he's gonna try and, break
I will
his
try
curse in front.
So we get to celebrate 007, the golden eye, and then afterwards we'll celebrate wealth and prosperity if GameLab comes up on top. If that is your prediction.
Whoa.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out there. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I'll review, right? Since we're always opposite of each other, we're always against each other. I'll review my predictions. I went for PBN Strike. There you go.
Yeah, what about
GameLab.
you guys at home? What do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments here and share us your prediction in the Twitch chat. And possibly let us know who do you think is going to be the better matchup out of this series, because that is something that I'm looking forward to as well. Be sure to cast your votes in the Twitch chat. Snapdragon match prediction on the Twitch chat. Once again, who's it going to be? Is it going to be PBN Strike or is it going to be GameLab? He, of course, predictions on the screen. Icy baby 1-2 Terrence, here, right here, 2-0 from GameLab. He's going to go for 2-1 for PBN Strike.
You can't spell Icy baby 1-2 without a 2-1 scoreline.
Oh.
It's not flipped around. I wish the numbers were arranged, in a opposite manner. You get the idea, I'm trying. I'm trying to make your day better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But,
yeah.
8 man. I'm looking for number 8, bro.
Hey, I mean, tomorrow is the last day of the Open Finals, right? But if you can end the entire Open Finals with a clean streak, next meal's on me. I've already set aside a budget. I've already set aside a budget for that to happen. I have a lot of faith in you. Do not disappoint me.
Clip that, guys. If I get all the predictions right, game.
There's a budget.
I'm gonna go for. Sorry.
There's a budget. We'll talk money later. There's a budget.
Don't tell me Monster Energy drink.
No.
Even though it's a pretty good deal, I'm gonna go one up.
I'm just letting you know I have faith in you.
Lobsters.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Caviar.
Yeah. When we get our salary for this one, then we'll consider that. I'll treat you to one of the classics that I think you would love, since
Ramly burger.
Exactly.
I love.
I was about to say Indomie, but that works. That works
I like
as well.
Ramly burger more.
Sure. We'll go for that one. Only if you get all correct though tomorrow.
Hopefully.
I won't be around for that, but I'll be watching. That's it. I set myself up.
Okay.
Okay.
You heard that?
No problem.
GameLab, if you're listening, you better win this 2-0 right now. Make my dream come true of getting a free meal from him, man. I really need it as well.
Yeah. There's a nice place I'll take you to one day.
That sounds a little bit sus, but alright.
Yeah, it's a nice place for supper. Sells really good supper.
Supper, huh?
Oh yeah. We'll put food aside, because I think in order to get to that point, your team has to win.
Are you sure you're Korean?
Am I? Well, I wish I am.
It feels like a Netflix and chill kind of thing.
No.
But at the same time, Koreans, they say, do you want to have some ramen, some kimchi or something like that?
That one is overrated.
Yeah,
the one
kind of a little bit sus.
The one I want to recommend is actually just good tom yum and coconut. You know coconut, right? So they scrape all the flesh out and they use the coconut water to cook tom yum, and then it's in a coconut.
Yeah, that's even more sus right now. And I can't eat spicy, by the way. But of course, speaking enough of food as well, I know you guys are a little bit hungry as well. So are we. But at the same time, let's talk a little bit more sharp in terms of the itemizations as well as the meta itself. Because so far, we have seen a little bit of a different approach coming from GameLab. They played a composition where sometimes it's a little bit unpredictable. And I think over the weeks as well, their game plan hasn't exactly been meta-ish. You talked about yesterday, we started to see a little bit more serious. Martis, Edith starting to be very popular over the weeks as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and we also kind of see this shift away from this Archive jungle, right? And that was just a week worth of difference. Archive jungle completely ignored Carrie, completely skipped through, and even when Carrie was picked yesterday, she didn't get to really play the game at all. There were just a lot of tools to shut her down, which I think is kind of circles back to a point you made early on. It's just so much versatility, and I'm loving the state of the game right now. And that is before Arlot was even enabled for the Open Finals. I think there will be a lot more, but the fact that we're getting a team like GameLab, who already has their own unique picks against PB and Strike, who so far has really been by the book, it's going to give us a very good insight on how much more can GameLab still do.
Yeah, this is going to be the final week where Arlot is not going to be appearing as well, because once the finals comes in, Arlot going to be playing the picture. I can say that every single draft is going to be completely shifted as well. We're going to see a little bit more meta coming through as well. Maybe Valentina being slipped off a little bit more, Glue slipped off a little bit more, Fredrin as well. Maybe even a potential Fanny. But personally, I think Fanny is something that should have been played in yesterday's game, but not many teams, or sorry, not many players is able to play the hero itself, because if you think about it, if you talk about high ceiling cap in terms of hero mastery, Fanny is definitely in the top pool, where I would say you wouldn't call yourself a master if you played 100 games. You need at least 1,000 games for Fanny. That was my minimum skill cap for Fanny.
What's your top 3 mechanically hardest heroes to do? I know Fanny is definitely
Fanny is definitely number 1 for me. Second one would be Link.
Alright, okay, so Fanny, Link, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Lancelot, Hayabusa. These are my top 4 hardest for me that you need to have a decent amount of games. Like maybe for Hayabusa, you don't need 1,000. You probably need about 200, 300. Lancelot, probably 200, 300 games. But Fanny, definitely a minimum of 1,000.
Yeah, I had Gushen on that list also.
Oh yeah, Gushen is somewhere there. It's about 200, 300.
Primarily just the jungle assassins, right? Like you can't run away from that. But yeah, the draft is gonna get ready in just a bit. Speaking about Hayabusa, I just remember that we actually only saw Hayabusa twice in the Open Final so far. Where do you think it stands though? I feel like not much teams are really going for it.
It's very situational. Like personally, I think Hayabusa is something the GameLabs do play a lot as well. It's really strong in the right hands, right? It's very situational based. It's a hero where you need to dive the backlands all by yourself without any kind of support. So it all comes down to whether or not can the Hayabusa isolate a specific target or hero, and which push comes to shove, and if and only if GameLabs require those kind of composition, they will pick it up. So in this case, heroes such as Valentina, heroes such as Farsa, these are heroes that can completely get isolated by Hayabusa, which is very detrimental to the teamfight composition. And if you pay attention to how Tiger Wong played it as well, they always made sure that the Farsa was pretty much uncontested, doing its own thing. So in this case, if GameLabs were to face against them tomorrow, assuming if they made it in Grand Finals, or they drop down to the lower ranked finals, that may be a possibility. But as of yet, let's talk about drafts. Fanny being banned, Martis as well, Joy as well as 1-1, standard bans coming in. But PBN Strike, what's their final ban going to be?
It's one of the few times that I'm happy to see the Martis ban out, because I want to see a bit more diversity in the jungle, right? It's always been Martis, Fredrin. I'm thinking maybe the Fredrin would be considered as well. We've seen a lot of Kaja bans. PBN Strike, I wonder if they would consider the Kaja ban as a Kaja ban in this first phase, because on blue side, it really feels bad if you have to first pick a Kaja, right? It's always a red side thing. Well, more of a red side thing.
I think Kaja's first pick is more open up in terms of flexibility, right? You can play XP, you can play Roam, but in terms of most flexible hero, I disagree that first Kaja is all that bad. You know, you can always play it in any kind of weird compositions, but I guess Edith is going to be the way to go for PBN Strike. We realize how strong it gets as an XP laner. It's almost close to how the previous season Glue is, and even now, Glue is still a force to be reckoned with. However, GameLab, final choice here. Is it going to be Glue, or is that going to be a Valentina? But no, they don't want to take the risk of the Kadita. The one-shot potential still very, very annoying to work with. PBN has 2 options now, Valentina or Glue. And it seems like they will go for the Kaja instead.
Okay, so there is a lot of... I guess it's kind of up for argument. I personally think it's more of a red side thing, but judging by how often it has been first phase ban, I guess PBN Strike just don't want to miss the window. But you are giving certain strong picks away, right? You are still giving the Moskov and Valentina away. It's an even trade for GameLab. But I mean, the Glue is up on the table right now.
It's pretty interesting considering that Moskov has been picked 21 times and 80% win rate on the Moskov. Just shows you how strong the marksman is, and it's weird enough that we do not see enough Moskov in ranked games yet. So I might be wrong, but at the same time, it opens up a little bit more. Valentina being in the hands of GameLab, we've seen how Tiger Wong kind of adapted to this playstyle. They got like really, really early Radiant Armors to do with the Valentina, kind of deny the damage output as well from Valentina. And I think PBN Strike, they may be able to replicate it, but this time they bring in the Farsight, they bring in the Karina, which is also picked only 3 times with a 33% win rate for PBNs, right?
Yeah, I definitely don't see this often though. One of those few junglers, those assassins that deals a truckload of damage in that early game and can really snowball out of control. But I honestly think it's not too bad of a choice, right? Like heroes like Moskov, sure you have mobility, but once Karina sticks on to you, you definitely get assassinated in one go.
Yeah, it's weird coming from PBNs, right? We haven't seen tank Karina for a longest time.
Oh
after,
yeah, that as
after
well.
the tank Karina has been nerfed, oftentimes we do see a little bit more mage oriented. So if PBN Strike decides to replicate a tank Karina, it's gonna be very difficult to execute, right? It's gonna rely on Divine Judgment, one-shotting a player, and if you don't snowball hard enough, this Karina is gonna fall off the later stage of the game. But for the Valentina, it is gonna be still beneficial for him, right? If you think about it, you've got a Divine Judgment to steal, you've got Feather Airstrike, both very, very strong ultimates. But this time, I feel like PBN Strike will have a little bit of a disadvantage compared to the previous game, where if you get Radiant Armor, this Valentine is useless because of Feather Airstrike. But for GameLab side, it doesn't really matter if I get a Feather Airstrike because the Divine Judgment works just as good, right? Even if Radiant Armor, the Divine Judgment is a hard lockdown, kind of get free kills across the pickoff. It's gonna be risky, but I think GameLab has more options compared to what the previous series had.
I agree with that. I also want to add on that right now there is a lot of single target single target damage and spells from PBN Strike, right? It's all about kidnapping a member from GameLab and basically just turning the fight in your favors in terms of numbers. The question is, starting that fight is not as easy as it seems. You need this Kaja to really throw his body to get that Divine Judgment and actually survive. And unless you have an XP laner that can do the same, maybe Lapu Lapu in this case, now that Yuzhong is banned, is not that easy. And just a side note, I do feel like this Karina first phase definitely is a bit too soon for PBN.
Yeah.
It's a pick that you can hold in the second phase because revealing the Karina now gives GameLab so much more info that they've seen both your cores.
Yeah, this is interesting from GameLab as well. I guess they are opting to go for a little bit Kufra. I'm not exactly a fan of it, considering that, Kufra is great in a lot of situations, but in this case, against Kaja as well as a Farsight, it's going to be different. Just because of the fact that Kufra does not have early sustainability against the burst. But I might be wrong. If he goes for Molten Essence, yes, he's not going to be able to sustain. But if he rushes a Radiant Armor, that's going to be a little bit different as well. 3 mages coming from PBN Strike. Whereas GameLab, they've got a little bit more options. But the final pick here from PBN Strike, they are bringing the Marsha as well as the Cloud. Marsha for split push pressure against the Glue. Pretty decent. Pretty decent.
So we get a full, wow, almost a full meta squad, right? Very, very standard from GameLab. Fredrin in that jungle, making it to the last pick, right? We don't see this often, for sure. But PBN Strike, I don't know what to feel about this, and not in a bad way. It's just, we don't see this often. I believe it's our first time. We get the Karina jungle, we get the Masha XP lane. How is this going to go? I mean,
it's going to be difficult as well, but based on the bans here, it seems like PBN Strike, they want to play around the Claude as well as the Farsa. The Lolita is to deal with the Claude. In terms of ban, Cho kind of disrupts the momentum of the Farsa in terms of isolation. So I guess they want to play around those two cores, whereas GameLab, they want to play around the Fredrin as well as the Moskov. So very, very ideal win conditions for both sides. It all comes down to execution. Once again, I would say this is by far the most 50-50 draft compared to the previous series. And, winner takes all, I guess.
Yeah, we expected very different drafts, different approaches to the game, and we get it. We get PBN Strike on one end, just Masha, Karina, a lot of split push, they get the Kaja, and for GameLab side, very standard, very textbook draft, a lot of those meta heroes coming through game 1. This is going to be very interesting, right? Because again, attention on that goal laner.
Well, we've pretty much having 2 Indonesian teams in the top 3 with GameLab being the last Philippine team so far. Is going to be a lot on the line here, especially coming from both sides. PBN Strike. Now, Bloods getting a little bit too much harassment. UTZ and Dogman already in a position to make sure this Claude does not have a good time. Claude going for the average to get a little bit more sustains. But with all this harassment coming from GameLab, Blood is going to have a very difficult time trying to soak and build up those average farms as well. And you can see TZ going a lot of harassments in as well. Leone now getting chased off, and there's no way he's going to survive this. They flicker forward, they expect to get the kill, but Leone will survive. Could not find the angle for Blood and Zai to get the kill as well. Dogman also here to provide a little bit more vision control. They're calling Takenaga as well to try and punish, and now they get the catch on this Karina, taking a little bit more damage. However, it's not going to be enough as well. TZ also going to be harassing Blood on Zali. Now, in a little bit of awkward spot, they farmed up the gold lane, but there's just so much pressure in the gold lane right now. But TZ, he gets the jump, the outplay, he gets the kill on towards the marksman. That is a huge lead for TZ now.
Why would Blood Sansai walk up? I mean, there's no reason for him to do so. You're in the safe hands of Rizzo, and right now, I don't think PBN Strike can even get a return. Maybe Aizawa would go down. Good catch from Rizzo. He needs a bit more though. Dogman, the next on the list, forced to flicker away. Takenaga, this guy has that ultimate. You gotta be careful. No combo points yet. Gets the taunt off Rizzo. Gotta make it out. Gets the return kill and the Moskov ultimate. Unable to kind of spear Rizzo.
Oh, mistakes were made coming from game lag. Dogman just finding so much opportunity. But like you said as well, Takenada could not find those charges to actually go for the appraiser route. So that's going to allow Rizzo to actually scale the bat. And things would have went either ways if Rizzo wasn't able to get this kill, right? Because if GameLab was able to get those kills, that means TZ is going to be scaling pretty hard. So that's fortunate enough for PBNs, right? That they are able to get this early lead, which Rizzo needs to do. And hopefully it's going to be able to transcend into a snowball. Top turtle completely ignored from both sides. Nanami and Xbox can't exactly get out of this fight. So it's going to be a pretty wet noodle fight. Whereas GameLab, they've got a Feather Airstrike. And this time, Turtle is going to be started off as well. PBN Strike not looking to contest this at all.
This is the dream opening for Rizzo as a Karina. 2-0, no depth. You get to kind of get a mini snowball rolling. Definitely a level ahead of Takenaga, but there is a lot of responsibility on Karina to really keep it going. And your silence aren't necessarily the best to set it up. You rely a lot on Leone to get that Divine Judgment off.
Yeah, Rizzo now looking for the Clock of Destiny purchase build as well. He's got the Blood Essence, so that is going to be giving him a little bit more energy as well. I think prior to that fight, he was able to get a one level advantage and the HP to actually sustain through the upcoming fights. And hopefully it is going to be enough, but now you do see a catch coming in for Dogman. They do pick off the Kaja. Takenaga getting a little bit aggressive, trying to punish the Farsa, but it seems like it is under tower range, so they don't really want to overcommit their stay, but they do get a little bit of redemption point. But once again, GameLab pressuring the bottom lane once again. Claude forcing the Blazing Duet, but the Tyrant's Revenge not connecting, so that's going to get a full combo in. Karina comes in for the fight. He is going to get kited as well, so that's going to be the Karina picked off with no follow-up from PBN Strike. Kaja comes in with the Divine Judgment. He is going to get a trade as well. Aikawa will get picked off, but Takenaga still survives it all. Gets the taunt. Lini, will he survive? But no, the heals at the last moment is going to keep him alive. TZ with the spear finally finishes him off. Feather Airstrike extended as well. Will trade his life, but it is going to be without punishment as they trade blood for blood. But Dogman, he wants more. Claude still survives, but with the turret, kill him off. Takenaga at the last tick gets a double kill. GameLab somehow trying to make this fight. Rizzo respawning back, tries to re-engage his fight. He's going to try and give chase, but Takenaga is going to be able to escape this.
Prolonged skirmish down bot, and GameLab still coming up with a bit of a mini victory. Blurs Anzai having a very, very tough start. Just completely shut down by TZ, zone out in the lane, and Dogma's pressure on this Claude is insane. And I mean, they're also waiting for Nanami to really start a push going, but unfortunately her boss is not giving him the chance. PBN Strike able to find a bit of space to really slow down the game, but again, you are waiting for the Divine Judgment. Leone needs to get a catch.
Oh, what is going on in this bottom lane, man? TZ already having his corrosion scythe. He's gonna do a little bit more too much damage. EHS first item coming from Blood Anzai, but middle lane, they get the dive on towards Aizawa. That's huge for them. They called in Xbox so Voss to join the fight. They are gonna go for the stick. They get the catch onto the side as well. They get the chain stun on Rizzo. 2 deaths in a row on this jungler means it is going to help them scale into the turtle, but it seems like the fight is going to go up a little bit long. Lini getting kited with the crew for a bouncing ball, and that's going to be another one that falls, and GameLab takes 2-0.
So much crowd control from GameLab. Rizzo could not move at all. Turtle pretty much in the pockets of GameLab, and a solo kill happens in the bottom lane. Blurs Anzai absolutely decimated. 1 and 3, all in the hands of TZ.
Oh my goodness, UTZ getting the second item power spike as well. Golden Staff as well as Courage inside. That's pretty huge. Middle lane, better Asteroid being expended. Target Naga going for the back lines. They get the chain CC in. They pick off the Farsa. And Raichel gonna be there to say hello, but at this point, he's just so underfarmed and it's gonna be very difficult to do so. Nanami having the golden star, but Aizawa with the stolen Divine Judgment pulls them back. They want to prolong the fight, but guess what? Lini turns the favor, tries to pull Dogman in, but Lini almost losing his life means that they will be forced to reset this fight in GameLab, getting full map control for top side once again.
You see the butterfly effect right now. Nanami, he's gonna see Dogman, but let me just cool fry, just heals up with passive. This butterfly effect is going to cascade because if you're losing the map so fast, Nanami cannot do his job. And now he's going to get gone on by Dogman. Captain plays for the bouncing balls. UTZ going to work on that top tier 2. No one can contest this Moskov right now. Nanami, you can only tank up so much. You clear the way, but Dogman is here. And then ultimate to pin Leonie into the wall. This Kaja is gone. Nanami forced to run.
Oh, that was huge patience from Dogman as well. Knowing for a fact that Kaja can't expect, he cancels his bounce ball a little bit early, goes for Tyrant Rage, and Lini just could not flicker out of there. And that is just a very, very nice takedown. And you will normally expect the Kaja to be being aggressive and go for pickoffs, but at this stage, GameLab, they're just so much more prepared. And as of yet, you can see absolute map control. Dogman just making sure that this Karina does not do anything fancy. And as of yet, I don't know what PBN Strike can do at all.
Me neither. I feel like you really need to pick off is the only way to stabilize the game, but they can't even get to the target that they want because of that frontline. Leonie again. He's taunted and dragged back by the stolen Divine Judgment. He goes down. The backline also compromised. Another taunt from this Fredrin. Yoktizi is just getting free. His in. Taki Naga. Oh! What a big crit! That's a 2,200 crit on top of BBN Strike. And Takenaga looking for Yojichenko, juggling around with Dogman, both right in front with the flicker. The tanks are completely overwhelming BBN Strike. A wipeout. 8 minutes in, Terrence.
Oh, despite the sidesteps coming in from Yuji Chang, there was only so much he can do. But at the same time, the big fat appraisals round from Takenaga just completely destroying Nanami. That was crazy to watch. But nevertheless, GameLab, they get full map control, almost a near 8k, 9k, almost 10k lead soon. But let's take a little replay on how things went on because that was just a complete massacre. Dogman just getting 3 men in that fight. Just, it's weird.
As a Fredrin main, this is something that I love to see. I mean, just big great sword on top of your target's face. And of course, I mean, GameLab getting that absolute wipe is something that was bound to happen. But with this lord in hand, this game is pretty much done, honestly. I don't see a way that PBN Strike can come back unless GameLab runs into the fountain.
Oh my goodness, look at Dogman's confidence on this Kufra. He's just not afraid to be a bait, not even afraid if the Divine Judgment comes in. But at the same time, they're poking around, they're trying to gauge their positioning. And GameLab, they would just take an outer turret. The Lord's still healthy on the top side. And eventually, PBN Strike, they will be forced to where it has been expanded, but they almost catch Blindseye. And that's going to be Bloods on Zai backing off with a reset. Havor still there with the split. He's looking to pull one back. And does he get it? Yes, he does. He pulls them one back. And that's going to be Rachel taken out from the get-go. And it seems like Divine Judgment is going to be there, but the tower is not going to be connecting. But they are going to try to extend the fight. Aizawa pulls in aggro with the Karina. He's got the triple swipe in. He will pay with his life. But they trade 3 for him. Absolutely worth it. And now with the Lord crashing the top side, PBN Strike, they don't have the numbers. They have the troll bodies. Fighting 2 men. It's up to the Masha. He's dropping like fly, but then look at the back lines. Yuji Cheng getting focused on by GameLab and the Crystal exposed. This is going to be GG well played for GameLab as they take game 1.
We have a speed run today, Terrence. Every single game has been 10 minutes. Tiger Wong did 2 10-minute game in the series just now. GameLab just did a 10-minute game 1 against PBN Strike. I think we know who the pack leader is in our top 3. Definitely GameLab. Well, at least in this game number 1, not even close. And you wonder why they've always been 2-0ing their opponents. This is why.
Oh my goodness, this was so frustrating to watch, right? Like, if you can take a look at this early engagement for BBN Strike, right? You can see that Raicho, he needed to make those plays. He had a level advantage. He would try to snowball his way through, but it's so very difficult considering if you're diving into this game lab, which so much sustain. And like you said as well, Kufra, a great way to deal with his sustainability, giving you TZ this early lead, it just puts him in a very awkward position.
Yeah, in the front lines, right? You gotta go to Takenaga, you got her boss, you got Dogman. And I just want to commend GameLab's commitment to really make sure that this Claude doesn't get to play Mobile Legends at all. The pressure was overwhelming, and even when PBN Strike gets those Divine Judgment, they get a kill and GameLab just responds, and Kai, her boss, has been such a big threat. Takenaga completely untouched, and I've never seen all these big appraisals wrap. You hardly get to even use it, and here you have Takenaga just slamming his big great sword on top of PBN Strike.
Yeah, it just shows you how glue can be an annoying factor, right? If you have a glue right on top of your face, Divine Judgment absolutely does nothing to it. And, you know, for him to actually get so many pickoffs and allowing Aizawa a free Divine Judgment is so much more beneficial than Aizawa getting a Feather Edge, right, in this kind of scenarios. And every single time PBN Strike tries to force a fight, you can see they're just so disconnected in all these fights. And Takenaga is always finding opportunities to disrupt that. Even here as well, diving back tier 2s, making sure Yuji Cheng just doesn't play. And even here as well, if Yuji Cheng had one member in this vicinity, they could have gotten a little bit of punishment. But nevertheless, there's only so much a cornered Farsa can only do.
I mean, just watch this. Just watch this moment from Takenaga. Gets enough charge, appraisal's wave.
Oh
just
my god.
Completely destroys PBN Strike. I mean, they lost the Farsa and the Valentina, but whatever, right? 21-6 this game. Felt like it was over 5 minutes in. PBN Strike, they did try to put up a fight, right? They tried to look for those picks. Raizo got a great start, but they just cannot snowball those leads. And honestly, because they lost the map so fast, Nanami cannot do his job.
Yeah, it was so difficult as well. And GameLab was able to find opportunities to punish Raizo. Raizo had an early 2-0. He was doing so well. But the moment Raizo's kind of scales off, and this is what I'm talking about jungle Karina, right? If this was a Karina back in the days, tank all the way through is great. But this time in the current patch, it's so rare to see a non-tank assassin jungler compared to back in the days. Like, to see a lot of Mortis, potentially a Baraz, potentially Paquito. Maybe once in a blue moon we see a Hayabusa as a niche pickup, but so far assassin junglers has been off meta, and there is a particular reason.
And that's why, you know, I kind of pointed out that this Karina first phase is a bit too early, right? We're revealing a very crucial gotcha pick in that first phase, and PBN Strike completely got countered because the picks that came after the last two picks were the Kufra and the Fredrin, and it really disrupts this Karina's game plan. And obviously PBN Strike, they didn't get to do much at all. No turrets were taken down on GameLab's side. I mean, only a mere 300 plus turret damage from PBN Strike.
I swear to God, we see a lot of flashy plays coming from Dogman. But most importantly, what was not highlighted was YuTZ had 77,000 damage in 10 minutes a game. So we talked about YuTZ in the head-to-head. It wasn't really that big, right? They were closing out the games. But that game itself just shows you the disparity of how far he can bring when you give him an opportunity. And for him to get that much damage and that much goal in this later stage game kind of states a lot. But you know what, I'm glad I'm one step away, bro, from 8-0.
Right, so...
Bro.
Yeah, I know.
Bro.
No, relish the moment.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I've been trying to preach. You got to... The fact that the games are ending so fast means that you don't really get to enjoy much 007. We're getting there. And one small detail as well, right? We mentioned Dogma's pressure.
Oh yeah.
Before the first minion wave spawn, Blooddancer actually popped his Purify because of Dogman. So, and when we look at 77,000 damage in 10 minutes, that's basically just YuTZ fighting every single second of the way. And all of this, we wouldn't have been able to witness all of this without our friends and partners over at Snapdragon Elite Gaming when winning matters. This evening has been unusually fast, but it's also because the teams that win these games are very dominant.
Yeah, in this case, you know, I'm feeling a little bit confident as well because
you've been working out. You gotta commit to it.
I gotta flex to it. You know? I probably need to get ripped, tear off my jacket and juice and like, you know.
You told me your vest don't fit you anymore, so
yes,
that's a good sign.
I got a new vest. Hopefully after this job, maybe you guys sponsor me a couple one here. I'll get a brand new vest and then maybe I can flex it all a little more. You know what I mean?
It actually looks good on camera.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But at the same time as well, I'd like to shout out to our partners from Samsung with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, where you can share the epic and also level up your gameplay up on screen and also your Mobile Legends Bang Bang game. Looking for a brand new phone? Check out the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Looking to check out my apps and take a picture with it? Well, I can't flex it out, it's pretty dark right here, but you can capture it with that phone.
That's what I want to say as well, bro. Just take a selfie with that. And of course, we got Monster Energy to thank for as well. I'm pretty sure it's been a big part of your routine, and you look underneath those muscles, probably a bit of Monster Energy, unleashing the beast within this guy. So check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming. And last but not least, if you are still after good top-up deals in-game currencies, do it with Kachi Shop at www.kachishop.com. Now we're gonna take a break, head to the pantry. I need to help him take some new selfies with these muscles. We're gonna come back as he shows off his big guns for game number 2 of this upper bracket finals.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Don't give him any sugar, he suckers me all his money. Wanna live lavish, you need a clue? Then look to me, I'll tell you what to do. Repeat after me. Confidence is key, and my key.
Welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang Season 1 Open Finals. We are watching the upper bracket Grand Finals, but GameLab just breezed through Game 1 against PPN Strike in just 10 minutes Sharp, when it's Husky, and alongside me is the guy with big guns, IC Baby 1277 Golden Eye.
Golden gun, bro. The golden gun.
The Desert Eagle. There it is.
Yes,
I was
desert.
looking for that word.
Okay, James Bond doesn't use a desert eagle.
They know he doesn't.
Fair enough. Once again, join me is going to be myself, ICBB1 Husky. Introduction. We're, if in case you do not know who we are going to be your casters and commentator for today. And we're one game away from me to get a clean 8-0. But at the same time, let's not take away the credit from the players themselves, because this is going to be a PBN Strike's opportunity to bounce back. Fortunately for them, it wasn't the problem with the drafts. It wasn't really a big problem with the execution, right? Like maybe the Karina was a little bit skeptical, but in terms of gameplay and their play styles, they do have capabilities to fight back. Hopefully game number 2 is going to be where they bounce back. And of course, we'd like to thank our partners, Snapdragon, for actually bringing us this amazing setup here when winning actually matters. Right? When winning matters, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, winning absolutely matters in competition. There's always loser. I have taken on the role as being the loser, and I don't mind, And losing makes winning afterwards feel so much sweeter. I'm content with yesterday's win. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but not with me against Contra.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's completely fine. I don't think I've won any predictions with you across the years.
No, not yet. Not
exactly.
Yet,
That's why
maybe
we should. I think we should keep it that way. I think that I think it's a good thing between us. No, we should keep it that way.
Your predictions was 2-1 for PBN Strike. My prediction is 2-0 for GameLab.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So far, we haven't exactly figured out whether or not it's going to be the case. Hopefully, PBN Strike will be able to bounce back. The Karina jungle, like you said as well, was a draft that kind of shown a little bit too early as a tell for GameLab to counter-engage as well. And for them to pick up the Kufra, I was a little bit skeptical, but it worked out in their favor. We talked about how strong and aggressive Dogman is throughout the entirety game. He was able to demonstrate it again for game number 1. So hopefully, it's something that maybe PBN Strike may need to consider dealing with Dogman strategy. They need to find a way to punish him.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's also how proactive GameLab is in that game 1. It really felt like they didn't give any breathing room over to PBN Strike. Not that PBN Strike didn't want to make the moves, they just were not given space to do so. Right now, they get to respond. Then back on that red side, GameLabs will be on blue for game number 2. We get the priority shift, and I want to see how PBN Strike responds, because they get to be reactive.
Yeah, and speaking of reactions as well, let's talk about the bans real quick as well. Fanny needs to be taken out. GameLab, they're taking it away, considering that they have a Kufra player. So it's a little bit surprising that they don't want to take the risk, but it's pretty much standard bans across from both sides. Mortis should be the one as well. Valentina going to be sneak pass. Maybe GameLab wants to play around the Valentina again. It's had huge success with Aizawa, but the Kaja first pick from the side of PBN Strike, I think you brought it up in the previous draft as well. Is it the best first pick material? Personally, I think it's okay, but because of the fact that they have a Valentina from Aizawa, that makes it a little bit more difficult, because you're giving away free kits for a Valentina benefit off, and this time GameLab, they just take it off the equation.
Yeah, I just don't want to do with it at all. I mean,
look at the homer, look at the stats and the numbers. They've done everything from GameLab.
Honestly, I love these kind of things. I've had the pleasure of viewing, Excel sheets like these.
Where do they get the numbers and stats? How hard have they been working out for this tournament?
You can only imagine the amount of screenshots that they have post-game, pre-game, and every single
Production,
bot.
can you do me a favor? Screenshot that thing and zoom in on what the heck is that in this paper? Is that hero pick rates? Is this what? No. He's just got a
I can tell you what it is. Okay, it's
what
definitely blue side, red side pick, and bans.
Yeah,
and
you're just judging all based on the color of the data sheet, aren't you?
It's pretty, I mean, I've seen data sheets that is similar to that. I know that every single team have their own iterations, but you kind of follow the same formula to a certain extent.
Okay. Fair enough. But Moskov being banned out from GameLab, they are just understanding that this hero is just so annoying to work with. I don't see it as a super strong early engagement, but it's really great as a setup potential, as a fallout mechanics, right? You go in for stun, you try and find an angle for the stun with the Moskov, and you immediately prolong the fight longer than you should. It's kind of similar to an early Selena arrow duration, which oftentimes gets you killed. In this case, I don't think they want to take a risk. Kadita being banned off means GameLab will first pick that clue.
Yeah, and this is a pick in the last game. I mean, her boss has been terrorizing PBN Strike the entire game. PBN Strike now, they get to respond again. I think the Valentina, the Farsa, these heroes are up in the pool. And so far, Farsa has had a 100% win rate today. And is one of those heroes where you can first phase it, it doesn't really matter too much, but PBN Strike, you gotta pick these two opening picks very carefully. The fact that you get to react to that glue.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to this kind of pickoffs as well, I think based on the draft itself, I'm a little bit surprised on how the draft kind of disappeared in front of my face, but I want to see how they deal with this glue pickup. So far, we haven't had a really strong iteration to actually deal with it. We've seen Faramis compositions, we've seen potential Baxia pickups, we've seen a couple of Lapu Lapu Yuzhong as well. I think the Fredrin pickup is something that they may consider dealing with it. But as of yet, I'm a little bit curious on how PBN Strike is going to focus on as well. Considering that Moscow's taken out of equation, I'm feeling a little bit of Beatrix pickup from both sides.
Yeah, I think that could be... That actually is something that I think GameLab can go for as well. The first two picks
it was
coming
flipped,
through.
okay.
Oh, so PBN Strike is on the blue side. So they get the glue. GameLab goes back for...
Okay, now it makes more sense.
Yeah, now GameLab goes back for Kufra and Farsa, and now the Brody and Fredrin comes through from PBN Strike. A bit more of a solid opening.
Okay, now it makes more sense, considering that I was wondering why they banned out the Moskov. Like, you know, GameLab kind of likes it a little bit more. Now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But reaction-wise, glue on PBN Strike. Fredrin also denied as well, but GameLab, they bring in the Link. And I believe that so far, all the Link games that has been brought out, only GameLab has had a very, very good success with it.
Yeah, only GameLab has won a game with Link. Just now we saw Zian on ALVA 8. That one was a completely different Link. That one is Link in Mandarin. 0. Nothing.
Wow. 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 Ling. Oh, wow. Okay. You've thought that far ahead. You know,
Yeah.
Okay. Just for a little bit of context, in Mandarin, Ling means 0. And Ling, and they lost, you know, 0 win rate. Okay, never mind. Let's scrap the ideology. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, it's fine. But at the same time, now I want to talk about how the playstyles are going to be a little bit more different. Because PBN's right, they're using comfort heroes coming from GameLab. They're sticking with the first pick Kufra as well. So this is a little bit more of a question mark, because if you think about it, Kufra is great in countering mobility heroes, but against a hero like Fredrin and Glue, I don't think the Kufra can do too much, especially with the Brody as well, which is kind of concerning.
Yep.
Because it feels like and shown their cards a little bit too early to allow PBN Strike to deal with this Kufra.
Yeah, I mean, Glue, like, both Glue and Fredrin wants you to be up close and personal, right? Glue sticks onto you. Fredrin generally, like, he's not good at catching people, but if you're in front of him, then sure, he will take the invitation. GameLab going for both the Hilda and the Valentina ban. Obviously, you want to ban the Hilda to protect the Ling early on, and PBN Strike going for the classic Melissa ban once more, which has been a very popular marksman in recent times.
I think Tiger Wong Esports has done this matchup in the sense where they brought in heroes to actually deal with the Ling. Invading is something that's very, very important, right? So GameLabs, the only thing they need to play in terms of game plan is to make sure that this Ling doesn't get completely contested. And in this case, I feel like Franco is a great way to try to reset its way through. Kufra can actually kind of deny it. And in terms of jungle invades, GameLab doesn't have the strongest defense to actually force a fight. Like Kufra, you can block mobility, but if they completely ignore you, it means nothing. PBN Strike as well, you have Glue, you can go for an invade. Fredrin is pretty good in invade as well. Natalia, amazingly annoying as well. Seems like that is going to be the support Natalia coming from PBN Strike. Great way to deal with both the Farsa as well as the Ling. We haven't seen this pickup for a very, very long time. The last time I saw a lot of despite the multiple nerfs on Natalia, was ever since Falcon Esports Naomi played it during MSC last year. And even then, there was a nerf Natalia, and they somehow still made it work. So I'm really curious to see how this Natalia is going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, drops that smoke screen, again, the disruption, right? You being able to prevent your enemies from casting their spells, you take away the mobility from the Ling, you take away the mobility from the... Well, everyone has mobility. Okay, I mean, that's what GameLab has committed to. We get that gold lane Harith. This is the second time we are seeing this particular hero get picked up for that gold lane. I think we saw one yesterday from either Tiger Wong or Evo Esports, but I think PBN Strike has definitely kind of switched up that draft going up against GameLab.
I guess GameLab is going for a strategy where Harith is going to be able to find a way to deal with the Glue as well as the counter altar, right? The crits coming in from the Harith is going to do a lot of damage, but all things considered, they don't have the strongest late game. PBN Strike has a stronger one with the Brody. Hopefully it's going to work out, but time is going to be under the essence of GameLab. Hopefully they will be able to bounce back. They bring in the Paquito XP lane, so who knows? are we going to see a tight series so far? But I'm liking the ideas coming from PBN Strike a little bit more, even though it's a little bit harder to pull it off.
That is how you kind of really play with that trump card, right? Don't like the Tala pick. If it came out in phase 1 like the Karina, it would have gone completely different. But of course, PBN Strike, their open finals run is not on the line. Right? If they lose this, they go down to the lower bracket. But for GameLab, again, 1 game away from securing the first spot into the grand finals.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very tough battle between both sides as well. GameLab, they're looking to clean out 2-0, but with this draft, I feel my prediction is a little bit at risk right now because as of yet, you might be able to break the curse this time because seeing how this draft, I like the idea that they pick up a Harif on gold lane, but I just don't like the idea that if things don't go well in their favor in the later stage game, this Brody is just completely going to shut down everyone from side GameLab. So it's a high risk, high reward draft. We've seen this coming from ALVA 8. Didn't exactly pay off for ALVA 8, but for GameLab, considering how strong they are in the early stage game, hopefully Dogman is able to build that momentum that they need to snowball their way through. And I tell you, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's one of those drafts where you just don't really have a contingency plan, right? You've locked yourself into a fixed archetype for the game. We are experiencing a tiny bit of a pause, so do stay with us for now and let this tension build up because, you know, by the end of this, there's a chance that he doesn't have 007 anymore, so I think this pause is a very good palate cleanser. Though I do feel like when you look at the draft coming up for PBN Strike, not only are they able to slip the Natalia into that that second phase, but it also makes her a bit more effective. And the fact that GameLab still committed into the Paquito and Harif is a show of confidence.
Well, speaking of harassments here, you can see Takanaga already here to steal off the orange buff away, and that's going to be a good start coming from GameLab. Immediately going for the contest on the orange buff instead of the purple buff means they are going to get kills across the map, and Takanaga will get first blood on this Natalia. Not looking good for PBN Strike, however, great for GameLab for now.
It would make more sense if he had backup, but I mean, it felt really weird though that Leone decided to go for that. He had the execute. He was waiting, I believe, for Takanaga to hit a threshold, but unfortunately he had help, so he couldn't do much. The roam towards that purple, but just to scout out where this Ling is, he is going to miss that timing.
Yeah, I guess GameLab has had a lot of emphasis on making sure to secure the gold lane, but PBN is right, they just don't want the gold lane to be touched. They're shifting the focus, they want to take momentum in their favor and try and punish the Ling. As you can see, GameLab, they're playing a little bit more defensive than the previous game. Aizawa going for the wings by wings, and not sure what he's thinking about it. He might have gotten punished, but considering that PBN is a little bit under level down middle lane, I don't think it's just worth the risk right now. Leone is just looking around, is scouting for information. UTZ will get scouted out. Here comes a dive on the top side. Do they get the kill? But in the bottom lane as well, you can see GameLab, they're making an attempt down to go for the catch. Nami will get picked off. They lose the Harif up top, but they will be able to trade a bottom kill as well.
It's a 1-4-1, not too shabby. And the fact that they are able to give Blur Zanzai a better start is very important. Leone is just going to face check the brush, get spotted out as they try to push the mid lane in, but Yojichenko doesn't have the call Alta though. Aizawa and Dogman on his tail. Dogman just waiting for the passive to come back up online. Yojichenko is going to get a love tap. Almost going down, forced to pop the call Alta, but that was good enough.
Oh, feels bad for both Aizawa and Dogman. Aizawa missing the spell, not connecting. He quick tapped it and it connected on the minions, but now with the turtle secured, Takanaga will get a free turtle. Nanami in a very awkward position. He needs to run away, but I don't think he survived. He even popped the split a little bit too late. That's going to force him picked off, and Takanaga looking for the dream start, and this is exactly what the Ling needs. However, PBN Strike, they have to put all their bad eggs in Blood Anzai's pocket. But Takanaga looking for a pickup once again. They get the Bragg Shell. Laney is going to be next to fall as well. GameLab, they ignore the Brody. They pick the mid lanes instead.
Bro, yeah, Brody can scale, but if the team can survive, it doesn't really matter. And her boss is just laying it into Nanami. This is a glue that took sprint, but unfortunately, I don't think he can do too much in this situation. And Dogman, he's just going to show up, buffer that dash, and Blood like, what a great dodge. That iframe is right there. Now Aizawa gets jumped on. Silence, can he get out? He does with the flicker.
Oh, that is huge defense as well. Great sidestep coming in from Blood Zanzai. making sure that he doesn't pay with his life. Leone looking for the execution. Daisawa, oh, the last tick as well. He hesitated a little bit more. He needed to extend his passive ability, but at the same time, GameLab gotta be counting the lucky stars because economy-wise is in their favor. That's Voss looking for a bigger fight as well. He dodges the appraisal's lab, and now with the Feather Asteroid coming in, Yuji Cheng will back off, and Havas will re-engage, take the kill. Even despite him, Takenaga gonna be showing his presence as well. They want to look for a little bit more, but guess what? They finally found Blood on Zai, the biggest picture in the game that they need to slow down, and they finally pick him off, and map control again in GameLab's favor.
That is the kind of Paquito that you love to have on your team when you play a normal game or Mobile Legends. But look at Dogma's positioning. I mean, this Kufra, you echo this in Game 1, fearless. The way he's taking space for his team is unmatched. There's no one that can really contest him. It's not because he's just a Kufra, but because he has established so much space early on that there's no way for PBN Strike to reliably isolate this front line. And GameLab should get a free turtle. Takenaga, he still has that purple buff online, so he's trying to be a bit efficient with it, but this XP lane is falling apart.
Yeah, her boss just doing a fantastic job as a Paquito. He's punishing the glue a little bit more, but as soon as they say he's gonna get jumped on, making space for Takenaga to secure the turtle, but bottom lane, he's gonna get caught up, and the Appraiser Raz comes in, her boss will finally die to glue, but Aizawa also in position to set up, but he's all by himself. Top side, GameLab wants to make sure that TZ doesn't get picked off once again, because as of yet, eventually, PBN Strike, it's all about timing. They just need to drag this game as long as they can, and it's all up to Blood Anzai to come back into the game.
My worry is how does PBN Strike try to catch you TZ? That guy has Purify, so you can't really reliably lock him down in your first rotation of crowd control. I even stole the Gold Crab just now from, I believe, from the Brody, from Blood Anzai. The Natalia is in the jungle, but they found him.
No.
I want to give major props to Dolman. He has been hunting this Natalia down the entire game as a Kufra.
Yeah, he knows, but at the same time, Takenaga, he's gonna get taunted up again, but the Appraiser's rough sidestep with the Tempest of Blade. He's gonna try and turn the tides, but the glue is there to save the day. They finally take down the Gling, and that's huge coming in from PBN Strike because they need to slow down the momentum, and with this pick off, gives them a little bit more opportunity to bounce back. But as soon as I say it, her boss is gonna go in the wet noodle fight with Nanami, but the top side, they do take a tier 1 from UTZ.
Yeah, her boss not able to reliably chunk Nanami down this time, as Nanami has already stacked up that passive. Leone, he's gonna get shown mid, and Yuri
Oh my
jumped on the timing! Oh, it could have been worse! Rezo didn't even have health to fight this, he didn't want to be there. Leone trying to run away, but Takenaga is on the case, and Leone gets punished. 3 free kills for GameLab.
What is that cash, Dogman? You are hacking! No way! That is crazy! How the heck did you find that angle? But guess what? He's looking for more as well. Blood Anzai is there, but at the same time, Aizawa getting picked off. This denying him that opportunity to shine once again. But GameLab Dogman, my God, what a god on this Kufra.
This is MVP material right there. I mean, we highlighted him right in the beginning, even though he's not on that head-to-head, but we, unanimously agree that Dogman has dictated how GameLab runs these maps, and he's gonna do it again. Nanami, you cannot just show up, not with Dogman in the brush. He's gonna try and disrupt the turtle take, but there's just no retribution in range. Takenaga gets the turtle. Nanami now goes into split. Rezo tries to go onto Dogman, but decides to back off. Nanami also escapes. Meanwhile, Blood Anzai and Leone gets picked off down bot. A double for UTZ.
Oh, that is huge for UTZ. But speaking of the fight as well, and look at this. Aizawa gets a Feather Asteroid of Nanami. He might be dead, but the counter ultra will be able to get him off to safety. Dogman, however, looking for an opportunity once again. He wants to go in for the strike. However, needs to play this a little bit slow. But at the same time, Dogman, he resembles the legendary Chuck Mamba from the Philippines. I swear to God, it is so much resemblance in this man right now. And speaking of which, GameLab, they will steal the orange buff away. This is not that big yet, but the bigger picture is they need another kill on Blood Anzai to stop him down. But as soon as I say this, her boss is going to get caught out. The rest of the team is going to come in, but here it comes! He didn't go in for the jump. They catch him, fragile, and take him down. And that's going to be Raisho taken out of the equation. They will look to re-engage, but the tier 1 still stands. Tempest of Blade comes in for Takenaga to buy time, but they won't back out. And GameLab completely shut them down.
Rule number 1. If you don't see Dogman on the map, do not engage. He is always hiding in the wings. This guy is playing Kufra like an acrobat. I mean, how did you get solo killed by Harif?
What? He's got the feather on top of it, that
was before the feather. So the guy's holding Chris all okay.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah,
okay.
that explains a lot, but we have a big problem. I just realized Nanami doesn't even have Radiant Armor yet. He went Dominance ISO. No magic resistance against Yuktzi.
Oh, this is kind of concerning as well, because if you think about it, they're focusing on Ling a little bit too much. Yes, Takenaga had a slow start to get a kill here and there, but all in all, Yuktzi and Takenaga right now is left uncontrollable. Havas is there to get a little bit more aggression, but seems like PP and Strike is just too afraid to go in for the punish. They're trying to go for a slow down, but the Tempest Blaze comes in, they connect on two. Can they get the follow-up? They get the Feather Air Strike as well, connects on all the called altar. And fortunately for PP and Strike, they make the right call, they backed out. And they are still keeping hopes alive because eventually they just need to buy time. But for how long? GameLab, 8K advantage. And of course, GameLab cannot afford to make mistakes and they will try to secure the Lord now.
This game is not going to end in 10 minutes, but PBN Strike are reaching that point. GameLab will get this Lord. No contest at all. Bottom tier 2 taken out by Yuktzi. And the mobility from GameLab is unmatched. The PPN Strike, you cannot, like, those long distance gets close easily, and they just dive the inhibitor. They drop everything. Yojichenko can't even get out. Leone is in the back line. Can they at least trade back? They can't. Aizawa and Dogman both get caught out.
That's huge. That's huge for PBN Strike. They were able to punish both Aizawa and Dogman. That's going to buy them so much time. A little bit of aggression coming from GameLab is going to give PBN Strike a little bit more space to come back in the game. Yuktzi, he's got some concentrated energy, but I don't think it's a big major either power spike. It's got the sustainabilities, but eventually, as long as Blood Anzai is back, he's going to be okay. Raijo is going to be focused down, but the damage coming from Yuktzi, a little bit too much handle. Yuktzi going for the pop. He's looking for the kill on Blood Anzai. He gets the kill, but at the same time, with Nanami trying to go for the trade, Yuktzi says, I'm still the stronger gold laner as of yet. Look at Leone as well from the back lines. Can he finish him off? He's got the Blade of Heptasis. He shows himself. He wants to go for the snipe. He goes for the catch down as well, but the Salmon Force is there to give him the sustains. He's got the shields. The counter altar is a little bit slow, but Dogman, Chak Mamba goes in making right here. They take the takedown, they take 3, the Lord still knocking in, and GameLab still 5-man healthy. They're looking to end the game. They get another catch again on Raijo. This might be over. They're focusing into the crystal, and GameLab takes 2-0.
1 extra minute compared to game 1, but what does it matter, right? The spectacle is the important one. They basically wipe the floor with the cold, dead bodies of PP and Strike. Dominant as always. I mean, what? We got a speedrun today, my friend.
Yeah.
It is the earliest timing for our broadcast to reach the ending, but we see dominance from both series.
Dominance here. GameLab, your first finalist in the Open Finals here for the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Season 1. But in case you missed out on how Game 2 went, GameLab was just having an absolute blast in all these pickoffs. Very, very precise potential catch in every single core lanes, and every lane has functioned as a single unit, taking down members after members. But this catch coming from Dogman was just insane. It just reminded me of how Chak Mamba was playing during the MSC days.
And I just want to say that with the amount of mobility, all these aerial movements from GameLab, I feel like we're watching a free circus show. And a good one. I mean, GameLab, they're just putting out the performance of their lives. There's nothing that PBN Strike could do. This is a this is a nightmarish flashback to game 1, but I mean, GameLab just beat them down equally hard.
Oh my goodness, even here as well, you can see Dogman, he tried to extend his flicker to try and catch that. And that was the only one time I saw him miss a high technicality skill catch right there. But nevertheless, I'm a Kufra fan, I'm a Kufra main. It's nice to see someone that knows how to appreciate a Kufra game as well. Yuktzi was able to play the Harry really well, got this momentum, he's got this punish as well. And because this game went the way GameLab wanted intended to, PBN Strike just could not react in time, and every single time they try to re-engage, it's just so difficult to do so.
Yeah, and of course we touched a bit on the itemization, right? The focus was on Ling, on the Paquito. And Yuktzi was like, alright, if you don't want to build magic resist, I guess I will kill you. I've not seen a Fredrin get vaporized. I've never seen a glue get vaporized that fast.
Yeah, that was really interesting as well, considering that I was expecting an early Radiant Armor from both either Nanami or Raijo. it seems like they're just not worried about the Harif and Farsa. They were just more concerned on how Takenaga was snowballing through. Initially, it worked out in their favor, right? But Molten Essence has reached to a stage where it's great for clearing creep waves, but it's not necessarily great for taking damage. So I don't think it's a problem with the drafts. It's more like execution. Leone was just getting picked off time and time again. The idea of having Natalia is great and all, but I feel like game sense wise, GameLab just had a better understanding on how they should be playing it. And Dogman, time and time again, making sure that Leone doesn't do funny things, kind of put him in this spot. Leone 181 kind of put PBN Strike in a situation where most of the team fights needed to be 4v5.
Yeah, and I concur. I honestly think that, you know, in this particular best of 3, GameLab just outclassed PB and Strike, macro and micro-wise. Even from that moment of that first blood, you can see the idea, but you know, the execution has to be so precise that any margin of error completely messes up your plan. And in this case, again, those turrets are almost untouched.
Yeah, YuTZ once again, 2 games in a row. First game he's got 70,000 damage. This game he's got 59,000 damage on this Harif. Well, seems like his head-to-head stats with Blood's Anzai is gonna be a little bit of a big difference. However, congratulations for YuTZ from now being our first grand finalist for the Open Finals, while PB and Strike will go down to the lower brackets where they will face off against Tiger WONG Esports. But before that, let's take a look at the MVP for this match. Who is it gonna be from GameLab?
It's going to be Takenaga on that jungle role. Honestly, it's hard to pick, right? Now Hearts, we have Dogman, but credit where credit is due, Takenaga also had a fabulous game. Fredrin and Ling in the series so far, and then all these setups done by his team, but he was able to deliver when those setups are there.
Yeah, he was able to connect the dots, and it's all about connecting with your teammates. In this case, it is all about team play, and Takenaga was able to execute perfectly well with his Fredrin as well as his Ling. His first game was a big shocker as well. He was able to re-engage and find many opportunities for those fights. However, I gotta say, baby, it's 8
All right,
right,
do it,
brother.
Do it again, do it again.
8-0. We gotta flex the muscle. Okay, you
do
know
it
what?
again, do it.
You know what?
You gotta do it with guts, though. You gotta
know what?
commit to it. All right,
You know
right.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta go this. Look at this. 8-0, baby. 8-0.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You need 2 more. You need 2 more. You sure you're ready to give up a bit of that muscle for a good burger?
Ramly burger. You can never go wrong
Okay.
with Ramly burger.
Right.
Never go wrong. It's the
We did it.
Malaysian flavor, bro.
We did it, people. We did it, folks. So we gotta thank our friends and partners, though, for making this happen. Of course, when you see him, you know, in all his glory, Samsung Galaxy is the perfect partner to capture this amazing moment. And I suggest you the Galaxy S23 Ultra, because I think it would definitely appreciate your efforts in high definition.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And of course, if you guys enjoy yourself as well, let's shout out to unleash your beast and inner presence as well. You can always check out the Monster Energy drink, because it is going to give you the energy you need to actually power through your games in Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and also some fun times at home and night as well. And who knows, you need the extra juice to push your limit and push yourself to the next level.
I don't want to be that guy, but with moderation, okay? Not too much, not too much.
Okay,
like he
fair
didn't get muscles, true monster energy, but he did win his games, and so did these teams. This is now the state of our Open Finals. We have 1 more day tomorrow. We have the lower bracket finals to kick it off. PB and Strike will take on Tiger WONG Esports, and of course, afterward, the winner will face off against GameLab in that grand finals, and winner will walk away with $2,000 US. But again, if you have missed out our format or you are unsure how this is gonna go, these teams have qualified for the challenge stage, so right now it's just for glory, pride, and a bit of extra cash.
Exactly. This is going to be the tomorrow's schedule as well. PBN is going to go up against Tiger WONG Esports for the lower bracket finals, and the winner of that series is going to be facing off GameLab in the grand finals for that $2,000 US #1 spot for their prize pool. However, all 3 teams has pretty much qualified into the challenge finals as well, where they will compete for a bigger prize pool. But all in all, it's all fun and games, and I'm looking forward to see how things go down for tomorrow.
Yeah, don't worry. When we go to the challenge stage, they will reshuffle the groups anyway. So for now, you don't have to be too concerned. That is for another day. All you need to know is that today has been the fastest day. Every single game has an average game time of 10 minutes. We get 2 2-0 sweeps. but our job is not done just yet. At least not for the Open Finals. The night ends here, but do remember, tomorrow is the Open Finals Grand Finals, and lower bracket finals where we crown the champions of the Open Finals itself. For now, we're gonna sign off and have an early night. You guys also take care. I'm Musky, it's IC Baby 1-2. We're gonna catch you guys tomorrow to crown the champions of the Open Finals. Good night.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Won't stop going till a player on top know it. Rooftop, penthouse, suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fly through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion, we put in this time. Look.